He's got it on his phone.
All right,
Yeah, but his phone is behind my computer.
Hi, welcome to Zealots of Zul. I'm Cliff Dunn, Dungeon Master and co-creator of ZealZaddy. Should I be sitting a little bit this way?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, good. There's a little bit of delay.
There you go. Perfect.
Right. Touchdown.
Gotcha.
Let's take a moment to introduce everybody to those tuning in. Starting with you, Jake.
I'm back!
Yeah, Jake has been gone for the last couple of weeks. Although Alexides has been present, except for last week.
My name is Jake Petrovsky. I play Alexides, the exiled Koranian noble. And I'm happy to be back after a lot of stuff.
Doing noble things.
Doing noble things, quite noble things. I attended a wedding and parties and a lot of running. Lots of running.
Noble.
Yeah,
They run for their lives when they need to.
That's true, because there's a guillotine waiting behind.
Right, there was a revolution.
Revolution!
Yeah.
Whenever those servants can't carry them, that is.
I'm Scott Coventry. I play Arslan. I'm a rogue in the city of Batishar. And I'm excited to have Alexides back. We need someone who's punching back every now and then.
I'm Anna. I play Sabine, the bard, who's, I guess, a souk girl now. I've taken a position as Arslan's, to work at Arslan's stall, and
I'm thinking more spy master at some point.
Okay.
That's kind of a better way of going, I think.
sure, no, I mean that's what I really do, but like,
You gotta have a day job.
Yeah, like my new day job is now Layla, the stall girl. So, and
Layla the Soul Girl.
yeah,
I like it.
Yeah, I'm sure my name will change 3 or 4 times by the end of the session.
course.
Thing. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Kyle Jablonski. I'm playing Kepri, otherwise known as Ibn al-Kepri, the aka the Viper. The Chemish Ranger, currently enacting master plans behind plans that may or may not get him killed.
Probably.
He'll be
Most
mummified.
likely.
That's what I hope. How else my cog get to the other side? It'd be bad if I'm stuck here. This place is boring.
That's fair. Hi, I'm Alex. I'm going to be playing Anupam Duar, the human monk, who is probably going to die today. So enjoy it while you can, Internet. Wow. You know what? I look to you guys for positivity.
Go out in glory.
Yeah.
We will see that your remains are mummified.
We will
friend.
honor you. And part of what what Anupam and Alex are referring to are last week at the makeshift ring set up just outside the den of Batishar by this traveling circus of brawlers called Bolsa's Brawlers. They had set up a temporary ring which included probably about a dozen fighters that were connected to the brawlers themselves. Some of the more colorful and memorable ones included a hyena man who at the end of his match ate the heart of his opponent. A large and Kepri, make a perception roll for me. I mean, make a perception roll at +2.
Oh. This ain't Kepri's night right now.
It just started.
8.
Well, let me say it a different way. If you thought that he was not that your countryman, he seemed a little developmentally challenged, let's say.
I had a feeling about that.
Okay, you don't have to make your roll to kind of figure that part of it out. And he was
He's very enthusiastic.
very big, a lot of burl, a lot of enthusiasm, and he clearly fought for fun. And he
He seems to have achieved
Reveled
that.
in it.
hashtag I'm the king. And also, not last and not least, was this extremely tall, ripped, what'd you say?
Monster.
A monster, yeah.
Of a
He was
person,
about 8
yes.
feet tall.
Yeah.
Who purported to, who was
Human monster.
repeatedly Burgothian, but also was billed as a son of the race of giant kings. And he had tattoos all over his body. He, towards the end, he stripped naked and fought 3 people and killed them all, and then sort of just played with their remains.
Yeah, I remember the bear hug with the tin cans.
Right, and he just sort of squashed it out like a can.
Yes.
So, more or less, you are. Some of you are still at the arena. Alexides, they had left you earlier at the end of the previous episode. You had rejoined the Temple of Baal and the Archpriest Harvin of Konox, and they actually, when they went to meet at the beginning of last week's episode, they saw you there, and you were sort of doing some work on the translations of the Book of Iluk, and also She Rises, the scrolls that Anupam had brought with him from Gurdwara as a gift for the Archpriest. So, just before you depart from the, what were you going to do? And Anupam, it had been arranged for you that you had arranged to participate in a fight the next day.
Right. Well, that fight is going to be on the forefront of my mind the entire day. So I'm basically going to just excuse myself back to the ziggurat and just spend the day meditating, training. Just kind of warming up. Making sure that I'm staying sharp, basically.
Alexides, what were you going to do with, and I'll give you a little time to sort of get caught up from last episode. What are you up to?
I am doing my daily duties, sort of working through the ziggurat, doing the normal things that I would be doing in my role as the subdeacon.
Right. You're the Archpriest's secretary.
Yeah.
Your official title is subdeacon. And you also had a couple of things that you wanted to, if memory serves, thrash out with the Archpriest or somebody else.
Yeah. So I had gotten there was some letters that I had intercepted sort of after the Archpriest sort of sent them my way, and I asked to inquire more into them, and he said, "Oh yeah, I've got a whole pile of these."
Actually, you had been going through the Archpriest's correspondence in your normal duties as his secretary, and you came across a particular letter that got your attention.
Correct.
And then he said, "I've gotten more of them."
Yeah, and it was in reference to something known as the Firebird.
Do you have it?
I do not have it on me right
Okay.
now.
No problem.
Normally I would, but I removed that scroll case. However, I do remember it said something specifically regarding the Firebird, and I think that since a lot of the stuff was in reference to Quran and Quranapur in the city of, I think it was Glittering Domes, I want to go see Bartisan Asor and talk to him.
Okay. Arslan, what were you going to do?
Yeah, I would like to start assembling a group to clear out the facility.
He's gonna obsess over the.
But
The short tower of Zabranth, where you had earlier come to heads with the.
I know the two of them said that they would be willing to help. I'm a little concerned that maybe it's not enough, but I don't know who else to bring that I wouldn't. There aren't many people that I want to know what's in there, so I really think that it's us or no one. I'll probably go to the temple though to get Alexides to see if he'd be willing to assist with the endeavor, since I didn't have a chance to meet with him last week to talk about it. And then find out how the PR effort's going.
And Sabine.
Well, having just finished the PR efforts, I could discuss that with Arslan. And I was also planting little seeds to try to find out about what happened to Ralto.
Oh, Ralto the Jewel.
Yes. Because that's what Atlas wants to know. So when I was doing my little PR campaign in the area, and everyone loves.
So let's backtrack and tell me about the PR campaign. Remind me
So,
what your intentions and your
padded my clothes a bit, put gold, thing in my hair, and I'm now Layla, the shop girl, who works for Arslan and came to the environs around the small tower with cakes and breads and sweet things, and told everybody about how Arslan is going to is extending his shop, to store things here, and we'll be residing here, and and everyone's like, oh yes, we love Arslan, give me more cake, and so
Buttering up the population.
right, so the population's all happy that there's not an evil cult there anymore, and there's just some shop guy now who's gonna give the cake.
Okay, and just to kind of give everybody sort of a little background into this, the Old Town, Vadashar has districts across the depth and breadth, and Old Town, also known as the Medina, is the oldest district in the city-state, and it goes back to the days when it was a collection of mud brick buildings. It's clustered around just a central well. And it's a normal neighborhood. It's dominated by the Black Casbah, which is the largest. It functions as a prison and also the headquarters for the Black Helms, for the city guard. And Old Town is also important because there's tunnels underground, as you have discovered, that lead water to the rest of the city. And there's other things there, including the small tower of Zabranth the Magnificent, the former Red Mage of Vadashar, who was friends of old with Atlas and who absconded from the city, but not before sealing up his main tower and leaving this little storage tower open where various street-type people clustered there, including most recently the Watchers of the Isle, which was a popular cult, which you participated in cleaning out.
So for the jewel,
Ralto.
What exactly did the Beggar King request of Atlas?
Well, he wanted to find out.
To find out who it was. That's it. Not to do anything about it necessarily. It's just to find out, to dig in until we get the info we need. Okay.
That's what I recall.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I couldn't remember if there's any more than that. And how long did he put a time limit on it? Didn't he?
No, not that I remember.
Before Atlas, and Atlas would have probably, he wouldn't have just disappeared. He would have said before you departed. Most of you were at the arena, or not the arena, at Bolsa's ring, just before everything broke up the night before. And Atlas would have said, I'm going to go start asking some questions about Ralto and that other thing that we had discussed, and I'll get back to you, but probably to Remigio first, or not probably to the Beggar. Well, maybe to you before I get back to the Beggar King. Okay. And he will go off on his way to gather intelligence.
he does not meet the same fate as well.
And Sabine, I mean, I would say that you had kind of gotten all that accomplished, most of that PR stuff. So what were you going to do after that?
Just go let Arslan know that the people of the area are quite happy that he'll be there, and that was about it. I mean, after that, Layla's shop girl will be settling in, moving back and forth around the Caravanserai. And Sarai in French. That word in French, that would mean something. So like, I'm really confused now. But it's
And then was there anything that Sabine wanted to take care of?
Well, I'm getting information, so the reason she wants to work in the shop and go back and forth to where the caravans are, is to get information, as much information as possible. And she at some point might go and visit someone she knows there in the caravans.
And when you say information, do you mean anything in particular, more than what you have been engaged in and involved with these last few weeks? Or?
Ideally, she would like to know more about what's going on in the north, what might be going on with the Duminoi, what is going on with Balkan, and what is going on with Benar in general, and what people have maybe heard of if there are any shifting social or political undercurrents. Basically, she's trying to find out if what she saw when she held the book was an actual prophetic vision, or the prophet of pain, or whatever the hell his name was, using magic on her to give her a false vision. She still doesn't know, and if it's a false vision, it's false, but if it wasn't, this is deeply troubling to her. So it's, the very foundations of her life are shifted. So yeah, she's just trying to investigate that and maybe go and talk to Gidrigo.
So make an investigation roll. That's with your intelligence bonus.
14.
Okay. Spending time in the caravanserai, you, from those people that would have traveled from Balkan and points in that direction, beyond it, it's still a hill. It's a river of pain. Mm-hmm. There's an occupation, a military occupation, that is detested by the occupied and by the occupiers, and it appears that the more that the two sides are very entrenched in their positions, and that the more resistance grows, the more stringent the response of the occupation is.
Have I ever gotten an actual, is there a common answer when the people of Benar ask, if everybody doesn't want us there, why are we there? If we don't even want to be there, why are we there, kind of question? Is there a political answer to that is given, or is it just shut up and do what your overlord tells you?
Well, I mean, that would be the general worldview that in Benar, most people, Benar, nobody would ever tell you that they don't want to be occupying Balkan.
Okay. So it's an open secret, but no one ever says, this sucks.
Right,
okay.
Yeah. And certainly not because of the there's a very strong, the theocratic element of the Temple of Erlik, the cult of Erlik, which has a very strong connection to the Overlord's government in Vinar. So both sides of it discourage any kind of outward discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Now, make either a history or an insight roll for me, whichever one is better for you.
16.
Okay. I mean, you have heard. There's also a resistance in. There's a resistance in Vinar also,
Okay.
But to what degree,
So
They're not necessarily taking to the streets, but there are people that don't
Right.
like it.
right,
So, but publicly,
everyone loves it.
yeah.
Is it a holy crusade, or is it like we just want their resources, or like what is the reason that people are told that they are occupying Balkan?
To the victor, the spoils. They would have done it to us if they could have done it.
So it's just like we got to them first, kind of
Yeah.
thing?
And they were at war,
Mhm.
and Vinar was at war with Balkan when the occupation took place. And actually, Balkan was winning the war, and so. But
Right, and then
most
all
of the time, war just ends. Somebody says, "Okay, here's a bunch of gold. We'll go back to business."
Or the soldiers are
or you get that river that you were looking for, or you get, whatever, and then it's done. But this was actually a full-blown, and it's been for over 100 years.
Right, yeah, I was gonna say this has been going on that entire
Right,
time,
right.
whole bloodline, yeah. Okay.
And it has also created a lot of. Now, people don't like it in Badishar, the people that you talk to, such as they have an opinion, because it upset the balance of power among the city-states of the region also, Balkan was sort of like Vadishar's commercial rival in some ways. It was a smaller town, a smaller city-state, but so
Balkan is where the Dread Overlord rules.
Vinar is where is
Vinar.
the city-state of the Dread Overlord, and then they conquered Balkan, which is the occupied city, and the Dread Overlord was a mercenary commander. He was a general of a large army, and this is, and then he established. But he got into.
Now he's a liberator.
Absolutely. Yes. He liberated not one but two city-states.
Right.
The winners write the history.
And the current Dread Overlord is not that same Dread Overlord.
Right, it's a
Title that's been
dynasty.
passed down.
It's over 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
it's all very complicated, and nobody is 100% sure why they're
Right.
still there. Okay.
Exactly. Like nobody knows the name of the premier of Quebec,
Right.
even though they're right there,
Mhm.
All right, maybe I do. I'm sorry. Le Quebecois.
All right. So I mean, I guess at some point I'll.
And also the
Country
cult of Asura is very popular there in Balkan because of its connection to the resistance.
Mhm.
And the cult of Erlik, which is has a reputation of sending people to, como se dice, what's another phrase for human sacrifice? It's a nicer way of saying that.
Offering?
Yeah, that's good.
Living offerings.
Yeah.
To give themselves so
The
that
last-
the
the
gods
last-
may be satisfied.
The final measure of devotion.
Right. Right. Yeah. So then it is a fairly reasonable possibility that the Watchers in the Eye who were not caught, it would be reasonable for Sabine to think they might have fled to Vulcan.
Well, I mean, it's a long way to Balkan.
Okay.
It's a long way, but
Might not be feasible.
But on the other hand, maybe you've got this. I mean,
It's also a big city here, though. It's possible to blend in. And
they could have
find
gone to the
ways
ground here,
Right, sure.
but I mean that would be. I mean now, again, Balkan being a city that is under siege and is not under siege. I'm sorry, under occupation. There's only so much aid and comfort they can give to people. But yeah, I mean, it's possible that they did go there. Sure. But you get the sense from people that, what do you want to have? Your voice, it sounds, you've been to Belgium, yes?
No. I'm just curious about politics.
Don't lie to me, girl.
I'm not. I have never been to Balkans.
You get the sense he doesn't care so much that you were lying to him as, or if you were lying to him as he wanted to just grab your arm.
I'm just curious about the politics, what people are saying, that's all. What's going on in Benar? What's going on to the north? It's something everyone in Badashar should know.
You're woke. Kepri.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. I would like to go to the caravanserai to see if I've heard word from home at the moment. Any return letters from the schools that I sent off a bit ago for the along the route of the Silver Camel caravan to my home on the border. See if I heard anything there. Basically, aside from working with Arslan, his little project about a place to nest our heads, I'm attempting to lay the groundwork for my family.
Right. You know that there's a in the caravanserai there's a large shop that's run by a man named Tamik, who also serves as kind of like the place where mail and that sort of thing gets dropped off. So. Friend Kepri.
Tamik. Any word from the land of the serpent?
We should be having letters this afternoon.
Oh, Jubliss. I do hope I am blessed by the gods enough to receive one. I do so miss family.
Return after the break, and I will see if there is something for you, friend.
Many thanks, my dear companion.
What's that? Is that the fourth wall shattering?
No, by the break, they of course meant the prayer break and food break. The
Midday
middle
sun,
of
yeah,
the day.
Midday sun, yeah.
You eat and then take a nap. And
Oh,
yes,
obviously.
yeah, the
What
break,
Obviously,
you know?
that's what he meant.
The midday break.
What is this fourth wall you speak of, friend?
Well,
It's
you
the
know,
one that completes the square.
yeah,
Of
every
course.
square should have a fourth wall. Of course.
If it does not, then it is not a square, is it?
Right, no, it's not.
Very well. Then since this was just a side trip anyway, I'm going to meet up with Arslan.
Did you not also want to, if I'm not mistaken, you had mentioned something last week about wanting to get an audience?
Oh, yes, of course.
Maybe lay the groundwork for...
For my thing.
Yeah.
I will see about getting an audience with the archpriest.
So you were heading towards the as well. Yeah. So, and you all converged.
I'm hoping that Autopom is also there. I want to talk some sense into him about that combat.
And that's where you were.
I'm at the ziggurat.
Yeah, that's where he's at, right?
How serendipitous.
The roads lead back to the ziggurat of
Well, it is a major power structure.
I'm probably currently like shadowboxing or something like that. So
First, I'll try and collect Alexides.
Ball is life.
Baller life.
And you come upon Alexides wearing his very crisp, extraordinarily starched and white canon robes.
Oh, my friend, Laundry Day.
That was 2 days ago.
And it's still so crisp.
Indeed.
You think that I would go outside looking like a peasant?
I would not think that.
I might say that in private, but I wouldn't say that to your face.
Did Alexides go with us to the fights?
He did not.
No, he's been cooped up on orders of the Archpriest.
Are you in the process of doing your duties today?
I am
Oh, you are.
running about.
Do you know where Anupam is?
I did tell that he was in one of the inner sanctums, practicing his sitting, sleeping thing that he does.
How much sway do you think you have over him? Probably as much as any of us.
Probably not much more than you.
Did he tell you about the fights that we saw last night?
He did not.
Quite the show. I do so love the king and the hyena man. The hyena man was definitely...
Hashtag I'm the king.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
He was considering entering these fights.
I don't believe he considered. He consented to enter the fight.
Yes.
What?
And then
Doesn't he know that
one
I
of them was just lopping heads off with a maul.
What?
With two mauls and then he swung together.
Ah, yes, the king.
Oh, and then there was the other one that was 8 foot tall and crushing men in their armor with their armor.
He must be mad.
And then there was the hyena man
Yes, I
who tore a heart out and ate it live in front of everyone.
We must find him immediately.
It must be noted that the hyena man killed a serious Endosian competitor, a man who seemed to be very experienced in the realm of combat.
Andos is no joke. We must find him.
No, I agree, but
We may not be able to talk him out of it, but
I
at
don't
least
think.
we can figure out how much we should bet on him.
I mean, or against him.
Actually,
Based on what
I'm
you're
thinking
saying,
against.
everything against. Let us go find this fool.
I hope you lose all your money.
The good news is, however, he will not. At least as far as we know, we don't believe he is fighting the descendant of the giant king, the king, or the hyena man.
I think he's fighting a mirror image of himself, but bigger, stronger, and more skilled.
And a knife with a knife.
With a knife.
A knife.
A knife.
A knife.
Yes. Another monk of the same order, I think, even.
Oh, he's from the same homeland. Not all Guduarans are monks.
They're not.
I would hope not. It'd be a very strange society. Though it is.
I thought their whole thing was to protect the world against the Rakshasa kings. Unsuccessfully lately, but
Well, I
I
don't
would think that the entire society would become entrenched in that.
Sideburn.
What even is a Rakshasa?
Too soon, man.
They're like demons or something. Demon king.
That sounds terrible.
It is.
Yes, that's why he's here.
Oh, that makes sense.
They failed after 1,000 years of fighting them or something.
I
Maybe
heard.
100.
I heard him say.
I believe they're devils, not demons. There's a difference.
I heard him. I heard it was a some sort of political maneuvering by a friendly state that helped do them in.
That's typically how these things happen.
No,
Politics are much more deadly than active warfare.
I don't know.
I can imagine demons are pretty good at politics too.
I would.
It is all corruption and crime, is it not?
I
It's the beauty of it, I suppose.
I suppose I leave things
I
like
should have
that.
said it like that.
Mm,
But that is the case.
I leave those sort of things to family.
Let's go save his life.
Let's go try and save his life.
Let's go make sure that we don't lose all our money.
Well, if we don't bet, we won't lose any money. But it's a question of who do we bet on.
So
Fair.
if we start.
And you find him engaging in his exercises, doing some shadow boxing over in the near the
Sakuhachi
garden.
Yeah, I was actually gonna say, like, I like to have set up one of those, you know, like wooden dummies with like the arms swayed out like that, doing the whole.
Doing his katas.
I'm actually heading over to the temple as well.
Cool, perfect.
That seems too easy for you. Why
Yes.
aren't you fighting a lion or something that will get you real practice?
Seems like an odd opponent. After all, the dummy does not hit back.
It's not about trying to dodge hits, it's about trying to move around and like. Can I help you? You're kind of interrupting.
No, but we hope we can help you to reconsider your funeral arrangements.
Don't waste your breath. My mind's made up.
Have you at least learned anything about this opponent of yours?
Other than the fact that he's one of my countrymen and he has similar skill sets, no.
That would be a nice thing to learn. That's not against your...
I have a feeling that when the heads were lopping off, that they considered themselves to have similar skill sets.
Learning more about your opponent isn't one of your taboos, like poison or fighting dirty, right? That's perfectly acceptable, right?
I suppose, but any time that I spend away from training is time that I lose.
Well, maybe if you are so foolhardy as to not back down, perhaps we can see about helping you at least a little bit. Perfect. Assuming you survive.
Of course.
Maybe we could get his opponent drunk beforehand.
Perhaps.
I would not mention that to him. It would be very much against our plan.
You're right. He is.
That's why I'm not saying it out loud. I'm whispering it.
Some people don't want to be saved, obviously.
Alexides, you don't know Bardace and Asur personally, correct? Yeah, you don't know him personally.
I don't think so.
So
I know of him though.
You know of him, so I'm saying you may want to also take this opportunity to see if anybody knows him.
Okay.
So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Are you sure there's nothing we can do, brother, to convince you otherwise?
Are you
Or help
fairly
you in
sure
some
that
way.
you're gonna die, or because you were joking about that earlier?
That was just me joking. Like, I'm not
We-
fairly sure, but judging from how,
I mean,
it would be unwise to not at least consider the possibility.
Right.
This does seem like to be another class from the broken bone, blood and bones.
Okay.
Well,
When is your fight then? Tonight? Today?
tomorrow. There's plenty of time to
So you
do
have a
some.
day.
Or you have a day.
Do you have a process to prepare for this kind of a combat?
Well, I'll spend today physically training. Tomorrow in the morning, I'll just be meditating for most of the day.
Is there someone that fights like you that you could practice with, maybe?
Not that I know of.
Maybe fight with Kepri at least. Better than a wooden dummy.
Thank you. The bar has been set so
Marginal.
high.
Marginally.
Oh, you wound me. Wound me. Oh.
Alright, fine. How are you with fighting without a sword?
I can throw a punch or two. I am not so brash as to admit that you may have the advantage if I am unarmed. You might have it. I'm not so brash as to
Well,
admit that.
I want this to be a real fight, so go ahead and give yourself whatever you want. Sword, weapon.
Well,
whatever you
perhaps a
want.
dagger, as your opponent will be using one.
Perhaps.
While they're having this conversation, I'll go over to Arslan and I'll say, "You're from Vadashar, correct?"
Yes.
Someone that I'm trying to find in the city, and maybe you've heard the name. Well, I was sent here to be under the auspices and guidance of the Archpriest. I was sent here, at least from what I was told, to be under the care of another by the name of Bardace Asur. Have you heard this name?
So make a history roll. It was suggested that he knew the lay of the land, not so much under the care of, but that he might be somebody that you. I'm not putting words in your mouth.
My understanding.
Not like
You have not heard of him.
No. My understanding is that I was sent here under his protection.
No, under the protection of the Archpriest.
Alright. We'll change it.
Okay,
It's all good.
sweet.
So you need to find this person. What does this person do?
He was. All I know from my studies of Quranian history was that he was exiled for reasons and complications unknown to myself in as much detail as perhaps they should be. He's some sort of emissary. He was a friend of my mother's uncle.
And he was exiled from where? Your homeland?
Yes. More from the Empire, at least.
Granaport, right?
Yes.
That's the capital.
That's
It's the
capital.
Cranian Empire.
It's the Cranian Empire.
And why was this person exiled?
Do I know that?
Make a history roll.
Oh, it's actually pretty good. 21.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Better than pretty good.
Yeah.
So, so you know that he was the scapegoat in a palace intrigue that ended his. He was very prominent in the Cranian government. He was a senator, among other things, but his fall was. He was supported by friends that enabled him to leave with much of his wealth and dignity intact. He had a very strong reputation, all things notwithstanding. And he has made his exile in Badashar.
Did he escape with all his money?
As far as I know, and what stories may lead us to believe.
With enough money, you become very, I don't say easy to find, but easier to find. It's very hard for people that live opulently to go to ground in a way that makes it hard to find them.
I mean, he's in exile, so he left. I mean, he didn't.
Right, but he's here, right?
Yeah, he's here, right.
Right. So
Which is thousands and thousands of miles away from the center.
right. But if he came here with his money and he's used to a certain lifestyle, it's very hard for people with that kind of money
Sure, absolutely. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
to set themselves to a lower standard.
Yeah.
For very
Well, if he has the wherewithal to live well, he's probably living well.
Sounds like if he was exiled and he was able to basically hold on to his money and whatnot, it was literally a case of get out of here, like slap on the wrist, get out, instead of if you're around, you're gonna be killed, sort of thing. Just what it sounds like to me.
I have
Yeah,
some
friends in the court kind of thing.
I have some reason to believe that he may be my best bet at deciphering some things which the archpriest has dismissed as mere nonsense. That is in relation to my homeland.
And the archpriest can or can't. He obviously can read it. Can he?
Oh, of course he can read it. He
So
just
he won't
seems
read
to
it
think
to
it's... No. He gave me full purview to inquire into it and see what this...
He's more curious about it than the archpriest is.
But the archpriest seems to think that it's nonsense and won't give it any true...
He didn't necessarily give you the sense that it was nonsense. He just didn't seem to be
Not important. Really.
engaged with it.
Yeah, he wasn't particularly interested.
So how would your family name help or hinder this search for this person?
It might be helpful. He was, as far as I know, friends with my mother's uncle.
Do you remember when we were in court?
Yes.
There were a few people that were there that were moneyed, high status people. That might be a place for us to start, is go find one or two of those people and see if they would know, because he's going to be in a lofty, group of people.
Fair enough.
That might give us a foot in the right direction.
That seems to be a good idea. It's better than any idea that I might have had on my own. Thank you.
Capri, did you want to...
Yes. Before we begin our little bout there, brother, I do have some business with the archpriest. A question or two that I would like answered.
Actually, who I believe may have been working those circles is Sabine. It would be worth asking her if she knows some of those people, or could find you entree to that.
Seems like it might even be a better idea than what we had before. Next we see her, we'll have to ask her.
And she arrives at the temple
Actually,
precincts. So she arrives sooner than you
finish the sentence.
Right.
Drive. Speak of the devil, sort of.
Or
What
is it-
devil where?
All right. So yeah, I walk in. And
What do you have? Do you have anything particular with you? Or?
particularly like in terms of like that I've taken with me. Or?
Yeah.
Some
Packages of honey buns left over from. You left those all out with the kids. All right.
Yep,
So you come
I'm
with
just
your.
come as myself,
All right.
whatever that means. So yeah, I make a beeline to Alexides.
I'm kind of perplexed as to why she's making a beeline towards me, but
Without her weapon drawn.
yeah, okay. Oh, how fortuitous!
serious
I was
look.
just looking for
Right
you.
now. She has a very serious look at her face. I need to speak with you.
I needed to speak with you as well.
Very good.
Oh, okay.
When you're done, it seems we're all here trying, well, I don't know if we're all trying to save the life of Anupam, but it might be worth all of us getting together after you're done with your...
Why is Anupam's life in danger?
Oh, that fight he's going to enter foolishly.
I can't remember. I wasn't there, right? No.
Were you at the arena?
I don't think so.
She was not.
Or not?
No, she was doing PR.
I have
That's
no
right.
clue.
No, she was working. She was the only one of you that was working.
Yeah,
The rest of
I
you
was
were
actually
screwing
working.
around and
Excuse
getting drunk
me.
and watching people get their heads bashed in.
I was working too.
Yeah, you might have.
Oh, you were. You were.
You earned a day off.
Right. Getting into that road is like a half day's
Yeah, right.
chore
You gotta,
right there
like,
by itself.
Do it correctly, otherwise you wrinkle it.
And of course, I should mention to you, Kepri, that the subdeacon to the archpriest is probably a good way of getting an audience in with him. You know, you got your friend right there. That should
Of course. I would think
So
nothing of it.
why is this a problem for Anupam? He's fought in fights before.
You have not seen the fights like there were last night.
Why? What was remarkable about
So.
them?
They
Sorry.
were devastating opponents. One of them was 8 feet tall, easily, and he crushed a man in armor through the armor
Tell her about the.
with his arms.
Tell her about the king. The king.
One of them came carrying 2 mauls, swinging them like they were toys.
He was Keemish,
Crushing the
like
heads.
Kepri. He was like
Oh, he was Keemish, that's
Yeah.
right. Crushing, just blowing their heads up as they came up a hill.
I believe that
And
was.
then there was a hyena man, and he, perhaps unwittingly, volunteered to enter one of these fights. I think he volunteered before, and maybe his pride is keeping him from exiting it.
I think he just likes eating the hearts of his opponents.
When you say hyena man,
Oh, I mean a man, half hyena or something. I'm not sure.
Which half was the hyena half? The top or the bottom?
The bottom. The reverse hyena man.
I mean,
well, it sounds unwise for Anupam to enter into such competition.
Now, would any of you,
Agreed.
before coming to Banishar, have attended sporting events like that, arena events? I mean,
I might have.
you know,
Once or twice.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, certainly. I mean, from what's described, were you weren't there for this particular, but you were at the previous pit, at the pit
Yes.
fight that I'm going,
Yes.
which was very bloody by arenas. Most arenas are not bloody spectacles. People do die, and people
Yeah.
show up for the deaths. You know,
Yeah.
but
Race car driving.
right, exactly.
It's
you know.
it's like wrestling, but a little bit harder.
Exactly right. So, but you don't necessarily always expect it. But if it happens, you're kind of glad you showed up for it. Not you, dear reader or viewer, but you know those other people, your friends. So, but this was much more. This spectacle that you all witnessed, and as it's being described to you, it sounds much more violent than anything you have typically seen, or that would be sanctioned. You know, like in the arena of Vadashar, which is mostly sporting competitions, chariot races, which again can get very violent and people die.
It's like
you know.
hockey.
The closest equivalent to that,
People die.
I
Yeah.
think, is the blood and bones. But even then, that seems like it has quote unquote standards.
Right, it does have standards, right?
Yeah, no
Because
standards here.
people
No,
had to. They wanted people to come back.
Of
you
course,
know?
I mean, like if you got a traveling circus of murder, you literally go to one town.
Hashtag murder circus.
Right.
Tonight's hashtag murder circus.
You go to one town. You challenge all the suckers. Like, hey, this huge bag of gold to whoever can defeat Murder Goth, the murderer machine. Murder Goth. And then when you finally outstay your welcome and have killed enough of the village folk, you move on.
Before you're chased out, preferably.
Preferably. But I would hope that having that many people who can murder that many people helps to cut down on the chase downs just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, they do enter willingly. It's just,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
that one guy.
purely desperation, I would think.
That one guy in the armor entered willingly, and he didn't leave willingly.
No.
Yeah, something like that. Like,
They took the armor off in pieces and scraped them out.
Turn them into puppets.
we gotta bang out all these dents. Oh, they'll buff out right there, real good. We just gotta make sure.
I will attempt to talk to Annabelle.
Good.
If there might be a few moments where I might speak with him alone,
Sure.
let me know if you see that opportunity rising. In the meantime, Alexides, I need to speak with you in private.
Yeah, I figured that one out. I was like, when is this gonna
Come
happen?
with me.
Oh, okay.
Do let me know when you're available, dear Alexides. I must speak with you in private as well.
I walk off with Sabine and I look back at you and I'm like,
It's like I'm not even the DM.
I'm like, I don't even know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. I'm not even supposed to be here
This is
today.
what happens when you take 2 weeks off, buddy.
It's my day off, man. This is my day off from church services. Now I'm getting pulled into intrigues and plots and trying to save our buddy's life, or at least even the odds.
So, Alexis, you get pulled off by whom?
Sabine.
Sabine. Where do you take him? I mean, where?
Just out in the gardens.
Sure,
Sit down in
sure.
the gardens, just where we could speak. It's not no great secret. Alexides, I would like to know in the course of your work for the archpriest. Sorry, my laws are just getting in the way of my ability to speak. In the course of your work.
Save it for later.
Yeah. I'm sure you're reading a lot of letters and getting a lot of information
I am.
about all sorts of things, including political situations in other countries.
Sure, most of it is mundane, bills, things of the nature, but every once in a while something comes across the desk that is perplexing.
I would like to ask you a favor, for which I would owe you a favor.
What kind of favor?
I would like to know anything that you happen to find out in reading the archpriest's letters and other correspondences about what is going on in the city-state of Nar right now. Anything you could tell me, anything you see, hear, read. I am not going behind the archpriest's back, per se. I just know that he would consider this a trifling matter. And he has already, in a sense, advised me on it, and would be irritated that I am still perplexed by it.
I can empathize with your sentiment. I think that this is a fair trade.
Thank you.
I will do this for you, and you will owe me.
Very well. That's all.
Fair enough. Now I might ask something of you. Does the name Bartisan Asur mean anything to you?
Does the name Bartisan Asur mean anything to me?
Does the name?
Make a make a history roll.
16.
Okay, yeah. So yes, you know that you actually have read his book, A History of the he wrote a history of Quran in the local tongue. In
a ton of Quran or Badashar?
Khalifin in Vadashar, right? Which you've read, which goes into details of the. It's a very lengthy history of the Quranian Empire. Mm-hmm. It's a very well regarded history, and yeah, you've heard his name before. He's actually He's a literary, a very literary person that you would have heard the name of, in his race. Also, make me another history roll.
8.
Okay. That was for something else. So yes, you've heard of his writings, and you've heard of his vast knowledge of both Quranian and Zulian laws and traditions.
And am I aware that he lives in Badashar now? Like, is that like common knowledge?
Yeah, it would have been common knowledge because it was a book by a Khalifan, law person, lawmaker, lawgiver that was written in the local tongue of his adopted region.
Right.
He went native, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say he went native. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. He.
But
okay,
right.
Gotcha. So what
It'd be like a Roman senator going to Athens and writing a book about Roman history in Attic Greek for the benefit of the locals.
Gotcha. Yes, I'm familiar with that individual. He's a prolific historian and author.
But you know him. I'm not putting words in your mouth for him, but you know him professionally, by reputation, reputedly rather than personally,
right,
through any interaction via the archpriest.
He's a prolific historian and author.
Which you know about him also.
I believe he's in exile here in Badashar, and has been for some time. Why do you ask?
I have reason to believe that he is connected to my family, and like you, I have curiosities about a matter which the archpriest finds trifling. And I wish to make contact with him so that I might better understand what is going on in my homeland. I propose that I will help you in ascertaining any information about Benar if you will use your not so trifling talents to help me locate this Bartisan Asur.
And would this be the favor then exchanged? Or are we exchanging favors owed?
If you help me find him, I will count this favor as done.
Very well. Now, I will go try to find Anupam and see if I can talk him out of killing himself.
I believe that Kepri has something he wishes to ask me.
This is the passing side, this is the suicide. Which, you were going to
I'm at the end
talk
of the hall and it looks like
There we all just...
Monty
This
Python.
room, this room here for secret plots, this one here for open plots.
Okay.
And as you cross the courtyard, are you together? Are you staying together? Well, because you were actually going to try to find him also and then break off. So you, you're-
I see Alexides and I wave him over.
we're going to make a perception roll.
Everybody?
21.
21 for me as well.
Nat 20.
Ooh.
14.
Okay. Everybody's
11.
You all smell it's probably mealtime for the cannons, and it smells pretty good. But those of you that rolled above 20, also from the kitchens here.
Oh my god. This guy.
He's awesome.
Get out! Get out!
what's his name? Castorno?
Castorno.
Yes,
Yeah. I wrote
He's a nice guy.
I wrote
but
in my
just
notes
his laugh is so
Castorno,
cringy.
the sub-curate, and then in parentheses I wrote, this dude has a terrible laugh.
So I'm saying he seems like a
Wait,
nice
and then I also wrote, plus he writes fan fiction.
He seems like a guy who enjoys himself. He has a good look about
He
him.
laughs at his own stuff,
There
but it's
you
a
go.
creepy laugh.
Yeah, it's seriously
If
creepy
you
laugh.
if you can't laugh at your own stuff, then who will?
It's like everything besides his laugh. He seems like a
Right.
cool enough
Who's
guy.
gonna
But
laugh
then he
completely?
laughs, and then it's like.
And Anupam, Kepri.
Ah,
I'm doing that tonight.
it's one of those nights.
Anupri.
Alexides.
Oh, that's their celebrity couple name.
Alexides, I see you have come back intact from your meeting with Sabine. Hold on. There we go. Just checking to see if you had dropped dead yet.
Nope, I'm still alive.
Excellent. Then you are of great use to me. I mean, can be of great use to me.
How might I help you, my friend?
Oh, I have but a simple request. No doubt far simpler than what ever our dear Bard, I guess suppose the word would be. Huntress?
Courtesan?
Courtesan?
Killer?
What have you?
Jack of all trades would have. I recall I need a audience, if it is all possible, preferably at a favorable time, with the archpriest.
It's a simple enough matter.
It is. Would you be able to arrange such a thing?
I could do such a thing. Do I know if there is a time of day that the archpriest prefers to take audience with people?
Basically, I'm
Once a
trying.
month.
I was gonna say
He's
I'm
bathing.
trying to get him to basically do it at a time where it's like, yeah, I'm great.
When he'll be most receptive to having
Yeah.
Requests.
the arm put on him.
Like right after he takes a dump in the morning?
Probably after the how
After
graphic.
his morning glory.
Probably after his he goes up to the apex of the ziggurat 4 times a day to commune with the god.
Mhm.
So probably after one of those times,
Okay.
or maybe after dinner.
Wine does tend to loosen tongues and inhibitions.
Yes.
I leave my request in your more than capable hands.
I will find a time when he would be receptive to having an audience, and I will inform you.
Jubilations. I thank you. Thank you very much, brother Alexides. It does my heart well.
You are welcome.
And Sabine was going to have a confab
Yeah.
with Anupam.
And where's Anupam now?
Right now, back to that wooden dummy.
Okay.
Pretty much.
No.
Who's there? Oh, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
What are you doing?
Practicing before my fight tomorrow, which I'm sure you have heard of by now.
I was told something about it. That you are fighting some sort of very large person, or perhaps some sort of animal person.
Not necessarily. I'm fighting one of my countrymen. I suppose they don't want to murder me right off bat.
Oh, I see. And why are you doing this?
I have my reasons.
And I'm inquiring about them.
You know, maybe one day we can sit down and I can tell you the entire story, but for right now, just know that I have my motivations and I have my reasons for doing this.
I will tell you what.
Okay.
If you tell me something of your motivations, I will let you ask me one question and I will answer it honestly.
Teach me to answer this question honestly. No.
fairly simple. I need to get stronger, quicker. So I need to fight people that are better than me. If I can't survive fighting somebody like that, then my mission is lost anyway.
I see. And you object to the idea of getting stronger by increments. You must put yourself up in a less than ideal situation and constantly test every boundary. It's not something that, your strength is not something that can grow with time. There's a great rush.
Well, every day that I wait, or every day that I'm not getting stronger, is another day I lose.
And what do you lose?
It's not what I lose. It's what my country loses.
And you are solely responsible for your country?
Maybe not solely, but right now, I'm all they've got.
So you are solely responsible for your country?
As far as I
You
know.
truly are.
Fine, I guess as far as I know. But
It's a great deal of responsibility. It would be quite a shame for your country if you died tomorrow then. They would have no one.
well, if I die at the hands of a regular person, then what good am I to them anyway?
And are you quite sure you'll be fighting a regular person?
As far as I can tell.
These people that you have contracted yourself to fight with, they're honest.
Well, nothing, well, I definitely wouldn't say that. But at the very least, if they break their word, I'd have no motivation whatsoever to honor my word and stay in the fight.
How will you know if they break their word?
I'll know once I fight the man.
So, if you begin the fight and this man turns out to be something other than you expect, you will simply turn tail and run.
Well, if it looks like it's a fight, I can't win at least.
Then you do intend to come out of that fight either by winning or running away.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure both me and my opponent will intend to come out of that fight winning.
Indeed, but you will run away if you feel that you are unable.
If he's not a man.
If he cheats you.
No. If he
If
cheats,
he's-
I feel as if, that's on him, but if they set me up in a fight with somebody who is not a person,
I see. And you are sure that you will know.
as much as a person can know,
So it is entirely possible that this dishonest rabble who runs this traveling show can have already matched you up with someone who is, as you put it, not a person, but who will come across as a person while you're fighting him, thus leaving you at an incredible disadvantage without your knowledge.
it's possible. It's entirely possible.
So you may not even realize that you have to run until you are dead. Again,
Maybe.
what a loss to your country, losing the only person left who can help them. Then they really will have nothing, won't they? And it will all fall apart.
Maybe I'm not the only one.
Well,
Perhaps.
who else is there? If not you.
Currently, I don't know.
So it does stand to reason that you are, in fact, the only hope your country has, and you may throw your life away in an unfair, unequal fight, thus dying before you can ever do anything to help your country. That
Like I
seems
said.
so sad to me.
Like I said, if it looks like it is not what was offered to me, I will walk away,
If you can tell.
if I can tell.
They sound like they're masters of the arts of deception, traveling around.
Oh, they were definitely deceiving me about something. Well, not deceiving me, but it was definitely something he was holding back.
Indeed, I wouldn't trust them. I myself would never contract with them, simply because they just don't sound trustworthy to me. I think there are so many people right here in Badashar who are trustworthy and honorable, who are great fighters who you can pit yourself against any day of the week and grow stronger thereby doing without having to risk the life of someone who may be the only person left to help your people in throwing it away in some little circus match.
And while this conversation is going on animatedly, a small group of people come upon the center of the temple, the garden, and it's the archpriest and a group of priests with him. He's come down from his afternoon communion with the god, and he seems to be smiling. He's in a good mood, and you all.
Capri, this may be your opportunity.
Oh, I would hope so. Could you, of course, make the introductions? I would feel very silly and out of place. After all, I'm but a humble little partner in this.
Does the Archpriest appear to be engaged in like active conversation with these other people?
It's not necessarily.
Okay. Come and follow my lead, and I will take Capri with me to go and treat with the Archpriest. And
I can walk that way.
Two more people cross.
my Lord Archpriest, it would seem that you have someone who wishes an audience with you. And seeing as though you are in what appears to be a good mood, I figured that you might entertain his question.
Archpriest Harbin of Conus. I am Ibn al-Kepri. I thank you for seeing me. I do wish to speak with you on a matter. If you have the moment to.
We are acquainted, are we not?
We are. I just figured I'd give my due deference.
I'm happy to speak with you, particularly considering your positive disposition, most recently in the service of our cult and our Lord.
I see. I live to serve. Archpriest, I would like to speak with you on something, and I believe you would be instrumental on this matter. You see, my home, Kimit, is a old place with old ideas. But there are certain people who believe, and within my homeland, who believe that in order to survive in these times, new alliances and new ideas must be forged and tested. I would like it if you could put in the word. I propose opening stronger relations between Kimit and Radishan. Nothing so big as a diplomatic alliance. That is not your purview, and it's far above my station. But
You wish an embassy from your people to meet the patrician of Vadishar. Is that
you are ever the perceptive one. I believe this will foster peace, foster a more peaceful relationship. Perhaps even one, if times in Vadishar now are, from all appearances, to be a peaceful one, given the troubles years ago. But there may come a point when the city requires aid.
I'm very happy to make an introduction to the patrician on your behalf, and perhaps in the future the benefit of the fruits of this meeting will perhaps benefit the cult of Baal.
I have no doubt they will be one of the first to profit from this. After all, the silks of Kimit are very prized, and they are a tad harder to get these days. My countrymen do tend to be a bit standoffish, if we may put it lightly, and he gives a small chuckle. But I believe this being the first step to something far greater than a opening trade caravan, or a small embassy. Something far greater that I would love for you to get on the ground floor.
I will provide an introduction from myself to the prince and have Alexides draw it up, and you may do it as you will. I'm hoping that it has the tendency to bear fruit.
Oh, I'm sure it will bear the most luscious, succulent, juicy fruit you have ever tasted. I have just the person in mind to do this. And if you find me half as charming, I'm sure she will. Well, I'm sure she will do a far better job than I. After all, I am but a humble guide in the desert. Once again, my thanks, Archpriest Harvin of Konax.
Perhaps you will not have much longer call for humility, friend Kepri. Alexides,
Yes.
you shall write this introduction to the Prince Korad, the patrician. Splendid. Then good luck to you.
Oh, with you all blessing and favor, I do not think luck will feature into this one.
And we're going to take a break for a few minutes and then come back right after this, okay? Thanks for staying with us on Zealots of Zul.
Push the button, Frank.
We're in.
Turn the key, Lieutenant.
And we're back. Thank you very much for joining
Hold
us.
the string.
Just before our break, am I in focus?
Yeah, you're fine. Scoot over this way. Too far.
Too far.
All right there.
There we go. All right.
You're
I
still
don't
too far to
mind.
the left. This way, just a touch.
Don't even. All right. Cool.
Now stay right there.
Right.
Don't move. Don't breathe.
It's like an ultrasound.
It's like a hose.
Do not move your head. So, prior to our break, we had a bunch of some interest in. The Zealots wanted to track down some information about an exiled Quranian senator, a countryman of Alexides, who may be able to shed some information on 3 letters that he stumbled upon in the possession of the archpriest of Baal. We didn't actually have the letters in hand. That was bad staff work. But in an extraordinary example of good staff work, thank you, Stacy, we now have
She's watching.
e-copies. So, well, yeah, she did all the work, so now she deserves the credit for it. Thank you.
It's nearly as good as the real thing.
Oh yeah, thanks for joining us tonight, Jake. But Stacy,
She's the real MVP.
you're the MVP.
It's the reason she's my better half.
Aww.
So, and the reason that these letters are important because you were sort of dancing around a little bit, not intentionally. We just didn't have the prop. So, please, can you kind of go back just to give everybody a sense of what the purpose of these letters were and why they seem to be of interest to why they have sparked an interest in you meeting this exiled Quranian senator.
There are 3 letters. The first says,
You came across the first letter,
correct.
which was actually the third in sequence.
Correct. There was a third letter that I found when going through the correspondence of the archpriest, and it said, Lord
Shortly after
Harvin.
taking it, this is right after he took up his duty, so he was getting acclimated to the job.
Correct. And it said, Lord Harvin, be not so stuporous from good food and your patrician's wine. Fortune favors the bold. The time of the firebird is near. And it had this, there's a
I'm not sure they can see
kind of
that.
terrible, but whatever. There was a very interesting firebird symbol on the letter. So I went digging to try and find additional letters that had similar.
You mentioned it to the archpriest, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I went to Harvin and said, "Can you tell me what this is?" And his reply was, "Oh, it's nothing. I've got a bunch of those. Just check the desk over there." So I did. And Alexides went through and rummaged through some of the
Months of correspondence.
and found 2 additional letters that had the same Firebird symbol that had additional background. And one that said, my dear Lord Harvin.
Was that the first one or the second one?
That was the first one. It said, my dear Lord Harvin, we trust this finds you content and hail in Vadashar. Our association would like to extend most cordial greetings to your reverence, as well as assurances that your personal welfare and future benefit are of paramount concern to those of us who would seek your friendship. Or, in its absence, a guarantee that your purposes are not crosswise to those whose love for the land of our birth is equaled only by your own. Do you ever think of returning to the city of glittering domes, perhaps in triumph? In tide envelopes the street of cinnamon, even as pen sets to parchment, and the call to prayer can still be heard from the finial towers of the Grand Ziggurat. Would you still be in the sacred precincts at this hour, or would the cult's business have you deep in the city of glittering domes on some business of the hierarchs? Would you have it so, and if not, how would you have it? And the second letter said, Lord Harvin, it has been some months since our last missive, and although we have not heard reply from your reverence, we are not undaunted, or unmoved to the needs of a rightly honored servant of Baal, great and unequaled, such as yourself. Please accept the accompanying gift as token of that acknowledgement, and with sincere hope for further congress in this and other matters of mutual interest. Please allow us to impose upon your solitude in the far-off distance of Vadashar and offer the services of an interlocutor in your geographic proximity who may be able to facilitate a deeper, more meaningful discussion. One which will uncover the many layers of mutual support and benefit that will obtain from felicity between us. Our brotherhood seeks true and honest brotherhood with all loyal sons of Quran, though diaspora may have temporarily removed from the cradle of civilization.
That was pretty flowery. So, both of these are letters that are trying to persuade the Archbishop to some course of action or...
Do you know if he responded to them?
As far as I know, he did not, and when I inquired to him about the letters, he said that they're really of no concern, that this isn't the only type of group that he gets these types of letters from, and he just sort of brushed it aside.
Oh, another publisher's clearinghouse.
He seems frequently capable of dismissing inquiry by making you think he's not very inquisitive about the subject.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know.
I would be interested to ask him, given the contents of the second letter, what it was that what gift it was that they sent along with the letter.
Who the interlocutor is.
In that.
Did that coincide at all with your arrival? Would you know?
Well, the scroll is dated.
The scroll is dated.
So-
Would it have any?
No, it's months before you arrived at Badishar.
So you are not
it's not me.
interlocutor.
Get off your high horse, Alexis.
Well, I mean, an interlocutor would obviously be somebody involved in whatever this is in. Are you involved in whatever this
No.
is? So clearly you're not the interlocutor.
At least not to his knowledge.
Well, I mean, are you involved in it?
No.
So then you wouldn't be, I mean, it would be a bad interlocutor to not
No.
be particularly
Are you
involved.
now, or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
No.
So anyway, if you're, I mean, again, if it's something that you may or may not be, anyway, clearly that's probably not you since, and they also indicated, I don't remember the language, but didn't it seem to see that didn't it indicate that there was somebody here at Badishar that was there at the locker? So obviously you weren't there 6 months ago, so that would not be you either.
You know who was at home? That guy you're looking for. That guy.
Artis Zul.
Yes. He was
almost so dramatic.
Sabine was also here 6 months ago.
That's true.
But you're not
you
from
involved?
Koran. I mean, you know, again,
Yeah,
it's like there was some
Am I?
beggar on the street probably there 6 months ago too, but chances are not, you know.
To be fair, we don't know where Sabine is from.
Yeah.
Right, that's true.
I don't necessarily know that I would trust her even if she told me.
That's fair.
You're not really sure where she's from.
People who are from where she's from seem to not know if that's where she's from.
If we're still in the presence of the Archpriest, I said,
You're not, but I mean, you went too often write letters.
That's fair. I do.
It's a nice letter you got.
That was very weird the way you said that.
Be ashamed if something happened in that letter.
Be ashamed if that letter got to where it was supposed to go.
I will assure that it does.
Again.
With you in tow. And not running off causing all manner of mischief.
Me, mischief? Perish the thought. I only.
Not all manner of mischief. You have specific types that you're a master of.
Some manners of mischief, specifically.
I am a master mischief smith. Thank you very much. I will not have my craft mocked.
Master mischief smith. That's a cool term.
I think I like that.
And
I'll use
I'm
that.
still sitting with Anupam or standing with him or whatever it is.
Right. I'm standing, I'm not sitting.
I think by this point we come meet and, no, you were writing the letter. Well,
Well, you were there also, weren't you? You were with them as well, right?
we're all in the same
Yeah,
general
we're all
place. Well,
I'm the one in the hall watching my room back and forth, door to door.
What time of day is it? It's like shortly after lunch.
Yeah, it's still very much daytime.
let us see if we can get some afternoon nourishment. I don't know about you, but I am hungry.
I believe the word that you're looking for is famished.
Well, hungry works too. I'm not famished enough to die, and I could use something to eat.
That would be starving.
Yes, thank you. I am lettered, and I do know words.
If you take it much further, you'll correct his spelling every time you misspell something.
That would be quite the that would be quite the
Let's go
feat.
eat.
Are you versed in Kimi hieroglyphics?
I am not.
Oh, well, thank the gods for that. No,
So
me no
we'll-
harm by
We'll
it.
head out to somewhere where we can find a quiet place to eat.
Okay.
Anupam, or are you going to continue beating up a dummy?
I should get some food.
I'll bring you some banana and onion juice.
Oh, thank you. That's actually really quite sweet, thank you.
My sentiments exactly.
Oh, it clears the chakras.
I'm
I don't
sure
know what chakras are, but he seems to like it, and I'd rather.
if chakras are another
Clear
word for
more than that.
bowels, and I'm sure it does that quite well.
I mean, that too, but not really what I meant.
Let us, now that we have, for the most part, I believe, concluded our separate, wildly varying interests, let us converge and figure out what our plan is. I believe we were still working on
I have a
assisting.
suggestion on that.
Oh, then by all
I'd
means,
rather us be in a quiet place.
let us go.
We can retire to my chambers if you wish. They're not
Our
far.
food brought up. Or
Sure.
grab food
Or
from
we can
the
grab the
hall.
food and go there.
Yes, let us see if we can steal away
Let's do
from
that. That food smelled amazing, although I don't really wish to talk.
the sound did not sound amazing, but the smell smelled.
To Castorno if we can avoid him.
You see, he's an all right fellow. A bit of a
It's not bad.
no, but far be it from me to speak ill of people behind their back.
Seems alright to me.
Okay. So we go and grab our food and make camp, for lack of a better term, at Alexidy's little shack, little room.
Yeah, it's inside. It's not a shack.
Yeah, when you said
Yeah.
place where you shack up. Yeah.
Right.
It's got a bedroll and a box. Well, the box is gone.
Box of gum.
Yeah, we destroyed the box.
That's right.
It has a bedroll.
You could have gotten a new box if you wanted.
Oh, that's such a nice box.
That's a nice box. Yeah.
You would
Stop,
actually
stop,
go to the sub-curate to
Shame
get
something
things
else.
like that. Yeah. So, but he would make sure he got you a new box.
Okay.
No difficulty.
Unless you're not married to the box. I mean,
I want.
you want the box.
So what was your plan? Capri says as he sips his.
So I've been thinking a lot about this concept of taking possession of that property.
Yes.
And one of the things that comes to mind is people like us are capable of often assisting others rise in the ranks. And I think it may be time for us to rise in the ranks of our own accord, for our own selves.
You wish to be the wielder of the tool, not the tool itself.
It's a thought that came to mind because I believe our varied skills and capabilities would lend itself to us. I've seen much weaker men and women become powers in the city with fewer tools, fewer assets, and less knowledge.
I do not disagree with your proposition. Power unto itself is not something that truly interests me. Power for a means. However, That said, I am loath to reveal too much. I am currently in the process of working on a little project that will help us secure a more strong power base, if that is what you wish.
I think that for your interests, political power within the city would be beneficial.
Political power, financial power, the ability to determine the fate of the city here and there with the assistance of those in higher stations than we stand at the moment. And we've all dallied around those stations, but they were always someone else's stations.
One is not necessarily indivisible from the other. We can do this, and I suppose it will help assist us in any endeavors or goals we may have in the future.
And that place becomes a position of security for ourselves while we attempt to do something.
I don't disagree with Arslan.
My question is, to what means do you intend to accomplish this? I have my ways of doing it, to supplement, if not do this task for myself. But what of the rest?
Knowledge, intrigue, capacity to find information in people, the ability to make ends meet that others may not be able to, but also being willing to do things that are complicated and difficult. And if we do it in a way that doesn't push us into the darkness so easily, then we could rise up in the ranks in a way that maybe we could even bring more people into the fold as needed.
It is not an idea without merit, and I must contest that I do agree with you. Whatever our goals are, power is never something that's bad to have in terms of this.
Consider our assets, connections throughout the Great Souk and the Caravanserai, connections in the positions of power within the Temple of Baal, connections now with even those in the Black Casbah. Those people that we are meeting are potentially opportunities to protect or grow our influences.
Like the prefect and the
Right. There's a lot of people that,
the patrician.
as a collection, we have established in a very short time goodwill with some potential allies.
There is room for improvement, to be sure.
Of course.
Black Casbah. Sorry. I was choking on a...
5 people walked out of the Black Casbah on a day when, in a year when maybe 5 walked out altogether.
I can see that my luck rubbed off on everyone, but...
And we appreciate that.
Oh yeah, you're welcome again for that, by the way.
I was perfectly fine, thank you. I made my way out just fine. But you are very, very welcome for that as well.
And I know some people here are not completely disconnected from nobility or royalty.
Well, it is apparent that
He's looking at you. And well,
He feels it.
Well, it's true we all have, to a lesser extent, to a major extent actually, varying goals, all types. Our goals are rather disparate. But you are right, working together.
desperate too.
Disparate. They are disparate and desperate.
Disparately desperate.
Both words are applicable.
They are. That's why I
desperately
use
desperate.
them. And I believe this pooling our resources would allow us to accomplish our goals more effectively, as you say. Brother Anupam, you do wish to take your kingdom back someday, do you not?
Sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we can offer armies, but we might be able to gain you knowledge that you'd have difficulty getting in other ways.
Armies, no. Knowledge and financing, sometime perhaps. Enough coin can make an army. Granted, that is a that is a
That's a big ask.
a far-flung goal, but it's a goal nonetheless.
I think we are forgetting, though, to address the issue of what armies, what coin, what...
It is something so far down the line.
I mean, what could possibly be given to Anupam's homeland after he dies tomorrow.
Oh,
I'm
that.
afraid that the entire enterprise would be over.
Well, that's only one portion of the enterprise. That one we put off to the side.
From what I... From,
We'll put a token effort in his name after we are...
I will not.
Hmm.
I'm afraid that if he dies tomorrow, all is lost for them. I think nothing will happen. He'll simply perish, and his homeland will be left to flounder.
Okay, then the obvious answer is if we want to make sure that Anupam survives, we gather as much intelligence as we can on his opponent. That's something you have no problem with, is it not?
I suppose not.
After all, knowing your opponent, there's nothing wrong about that. And perhaps...
A good soldier does know his opponent, right?
Indeed.
Indeed.
Incidentally, I have Jake has kindly posted made available for all of you the letters received by the Archpriest of Baal, so that for those of you who want to parse
That's what
them
that
out.
subtle vibration was. Excellent.
I'll also post those on the Facebook page also tomorrow, so that everyone can see what
Then
specifically what happened.
perhaps we should go do that. Go gather what we can, among other things. Hint, hint.
Yep. I agree.
To ensure that our dear Anupam does not can see the next sunrise. I'm sure he is more than capable on his own, but
As the subdeacon, but also as someone who grew up in nobility and is familiar with such things, what's the best way, given that I have a letter, for me to help Kepri get audience with?
Right. Well, I mean, you've been given a letter, or you wrote a letter, but you've been given an introduction right from the Archpriest to the patricians. So you would take that to and of course you yourself are no stranger to those.
yeah.
So two heads are better than one.
So I just
or-
go.
Yeah,
Right.
Isn't there a time where he just straight out receives petitions?
It depends.
I was also given an invitation to entreat with the patrician at one point.
There you go. Just use your brownie points to help me out, and everything will be fine.
We can go whenever you're ready.
And you were also, I think, planning to
Visit the.
stop past Tamik's stall to see if any mail had been received.
Yes, and I'd also like to see, not for nothing, to see if Droglio is back in town. I would like to speak with him something. If he is not, it is not a.
It would not be likely, and you for him to be back because it's quite
That's
a long. It's a
That's
journey
fine.
back.
It's just
a couple months journey
something
back.
something I'd like to keep track of sometime
For when he
down the
comes
line.
back.
Yeah.
And in fact, Tamik does offer you
Ooh.
a letter that came,
So you have friends in high places. I see.
and he sits there waiting in the universal pose of someone expecting.
Of course. You have.
He's doing the bellhop.
Of course, I shake myself out of looking my way. Oh, of course. Many thanks, my dear Tamik, for your generosity and your ability to get it delivered swiftly.
This one's psyche did not rest until that missive was safely placed into your hands.
Oh, such loyalty must be rewarded. And it is. Why not? It is from family, is it not? And Kepri slides him 5 gold.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
Well played, Effendi. Thank you.
Of course, still living off fight money. Smells of lotus.
And now you're high.
No, it smells like an ambergris, some sort of perfumed scent.
think you can.
Might
I
wish
mean,
to
it's a
grate
seal.
it.
Don't feel bad. I mean, there's more wax where that comes
Grate
from.
the
So
seal.
like no, like grab the paper like this and like
Yeah.
that.
Like this?
No.
No. You take the whole thing.
Break the seal.
Oh, okay.
Like that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, okay.
Oh, my messages, they're too
It's made of rubber!
My messages are too secure.
The seal is made of rubber,
Not
we're
too great.
doomed!
Wax.
It's probably the other way is better to do it, but it's just the way it's
It
on.
must be Kemet wax.
It is Kemet wax.
They use sugar in it, you know.
Make it extra sticky. It's honey and wax.
Exactly.
There we go, I think I got it.
Alright, I think that's, yeah, it's gonna be the only way to do it.
Yeah.
That's fine, I got it.
Bring it.
I got it. This is why
You can burn the wax off.
Any messages.
Yes.
I will have to,
What an interesting story you have.
It is. You'll have to forgive me.
Private.
I will have to.
Family
It's
documents.
that you can.
I will.
I give you dispensation to read it out loud, and
Do you want me to read it out?
Yeah,
loud?
yeah,
Okay, that's fine. Quite.
yeah,
For the benefits of the viewers at home, but erstwhile unknown to the rest of the
not
party.
necessarily. You can read it out loud.
Okay.
Up to you.
Yeah. If I thought it should be secret, you know, you scanned it enough, you get a sense
Okay.
that it's not secret. She didn't stare at it with the "don't let anybody read this" vibe, you know.
Fair enough. I suppose I can trust you enough to know of some of it. The 20th day of the Reaper, Kepri, my dear brother, I trust to Pet that she uses the proper spelling of it, not the regional spelling. That this letter comes to you into your hands to find you in a state of health and fitness so far. You'll be gladdened to know that our family is well, and I send you greetings from our father and from your mother. The drought in northern and eastern Kemet continues, with the king's scribes recording that the annual of Apophis flooding has failed for the 7th year, oh no, and many have died of famine. The careful planning and forethought of our father has forestalled the worst for our immediate holdings, and we trust in the will of Apep in the mighty Apophis. My grandmother was among those who perished. Her passing was honored. I have received your letter dated the 14th day of the Reaper concerning your consul to initiate an embassy with the rulers of the city-state of Vadashar. Both our father and I concur with your assessment of the value of establishing commercial relations with Vadashar and perhaps other cities in the Valley of Caliph. You will be proud to learn that I have begun preparations to lead this embassy in the name of our house and to the glory of the basalt throne of Kemet and His Majesty King Nefertari. Our embassy should arrive in the Imperial Quranian outpost, Fort Zayad, no later than the first week in Radana. You would do great honor to our house if you would meet me there and provide a safe escort to the city-state of Vadashar. With fondness, Ozira, your sister. Warms my heart.
Especially the sentence where she mentioned that her grandmother died, and
Oh,
she was honored.
Especially the part where she said
heartwarming.
that she wants you to meet her in my empire.
of course. Diplomatic relations are still a thing. They're just tense, cold.
Well, that fort is on the, it's on the
Border?
Well, no, it's on the way. I mean, she would, so it's the closest
Well,
place.
as you have now seen, I have a way to increase our power exponentially, provided my sister is willing to come along with this, but I do not see a reason she would not. After all, Kemish silks are prized, are they not? Fetch quite the coin,
Oh, very much.
as well as ivory from Zabala in the Dark Kingdom.
Kemish silks would give us entree to a few higher stations
I have
right at the beginning.
I have no doubts about that. My family,
I've heard that they've been very difficult to come by lately.
of course, we simply can't just be giving them out. But
But we have to be careful. There is the Silk Guild that
This is true.
have an iron hand on
This is
that product in the city.
This is true, but as with all obstacles, they will be circumvented in time. The will of Apophis.
They murder circumventors.
Well, when I say circumvention, I do not mean go behind them. As obviously, we begin establishing inroads.
Yes.
No doubt they will want a piece of this.
They will. They will want the biggest piece of it.
I'm sure they will, and we will.
Perhaps that is a way to go.
Well, perhaps. Something to discuss, after all. Now that we have finished airing out my laundry, my family laundry for everyone to see, what of our current situation with dear brother Anu?
I don't think we can change his honor to entering this fight. He's made this decision.
I have come to that conclusion long ago. However, I think we can assist him in other ways.
I see no reason why he cannot simply choose a different fight and a different venue, and to work with different people. There's just as much a chance of gaining strength in somewhere else as there is in this ridiculous traveling circus of murder.
Hashtag murder circus. You know what? I could probably just go to the Blood and Bone every single night and fight somebody. However, like I said before, every day that I spend not getting as strong as I possibly can is a day lost.
And every day that you spend dead is a day that your country will not be liberated.
How much of your coin would you like us to bet?
On,
Question, actually.
on you or against you?
We'll make that call.
Oh, we shall? Okay.
Shouldn't we?
We should.
No.
We shouldn't?
No.
So you want to put coin up as a way of getting you to fight your best.
I don't think it would really be a big motivation.
Are you
However,
betting against yourself?
no, I'm not betting against
This
myself.
does not
'Cause
seem
that would
like-
mean that I would be dead,
This does
and
not seem
then
like
I
the place
wouldn't
to
see
take
the
it.
coin. Hence, why would I bet on myself to lose?
That sort of thing perhaps may fly at, seems like it may fly at the Blood and Bones, but I do not believe it will fly here.
Yeah. We need to help him in other ways.
Excellent. Let us get his opponent drunk and or poisoned.
It will not fly
No.
here because
Just information. That's all I can say.
it will not fly here because we
Focus
are
on winning your way,
assuming
brother. Oh, we shall
that
focus
these
on
fights
helping
are
you
even
out.
for real. What if they're entirely staged?
That was quite the performance.
Or perhaps it could be entirely staged.
I would certainly like to know how he performed that very impressive trick where he had his heart ripped out of his own chest.
And
I'm
has
not
lopped
saying
off
that
the
those
victims.
fights were staged, but it is very common in such traveling performances that fights are in fact staged and even deaths are staged. It could be something that could be arranged.
You mean have him fake his demise?
Well,
Or the other.
he could, if he were working with his opponent, agree to, he could fight him for strength, and at a certain point, someone's death could be faked.
Based on the descriptions that you've all given me, provided I was not there, I find that it's difficult to believe that these fighters could be reasoned with and a fight be staged. They
Those
seem
fighters could not be reasoned with. We don't know the fighter.
Well, then let us find out more about this fighter.
It would seem to me that anyone who would keep these individuals in his retinue, provide entertainment of the kind, would be loath to employ one who would be so easily persuaded to throw a fight.
Who said that he would be the one throwing the fight?
Fair
Well,
enough.
I'm definitely not doing it.
But I don't believe, based on the descriptions, that any of these fighters would even entertain the thought. Though the person arranging the fights might be one to be persuaded, I find it difficult to believe that those in the ring would be so easily controlled.
We can discuss this until Apophis swallows the celestial vessel. Let us make our way to the menagerie and see if we can learn more about this opponent, and then if we need to, we can discuss with the ringleader or the fighter
Agreed.
himself.
I don't know, Mom. You should continue your practice.
And I will write a letter.
I will stay here and talk some more with Annabelle.
I will take my onion and banana juice and go back down to my little center.
I have a letter to write.
I have further questions for Annabelle.
I'm sure you do.
If you can,
We'll wait outside.
if you can intrigue with me for a moment. And it's literally just everyone split the party, but keep the party right there.
Exactly. Split yet together.
As I'm making sure I'm out of sight in your shot of Anupam. You have no doubt figured out that our dear Anupam is a stubborn, honorable beast. The time may come to take less than honorable actions. I need to know, are you willing? You have already been shown to
Capri, would you like me to drug him or his opponent?
his opponent, if that would be quite a...
I can do that, but if we drug him ahead of time, he won't even show up for the fight.
He can, but I do not wish to injure his pride that much.
Very well.
It is a thing amongst men. I assure you, we are predictable dumb beasts, but beasts we are.
If I cannot talk him out of the fight,
A last resort, if need be. But I would rather it be his opponent. I have grown fond of dear brother Anupam, and I would rather I see him see the next sunrise. And if we must, we will do what need be done that he will not. But let us see if we can salvage some of his pride.
very well.
It's not that we don't believe in you, it's that we want to make sure that everything is in.
So what exactly is your plan? I'm trying. Bringing my arms around it.
Well, the idea is right now, we three, to the best of our knowledge, it's us three, right, are going down to the tent to see if we can learn more about his opponent. Who the Gurdwaran, or I believe it was a Gurdwaran.
It was good word.
Okay, the Gurdwaran monk, I suppose, that he intends to fight.
Well, I said he fights with daggers. So
Daggers, just learn more, maybe see him training and whatnot, and if possible, maybe do something to even the odds in his favor. Get him drunk, get him poisoned, don't know. Right now it's a fact-finding mission. That's it. While we do our type of things. You know what I need to do? I need to make a cork board for everything that we want to do, all our things. We can share it with the other one.
I also would seek to get Capri to the patricians.
Oh, yes, I've been so caught up in helping dear brother Anupam that I forgot my own things. Ever the busy little viper that I be.
I would want to go with them when they go.
So,
And what are you going to do, Arslan?
He's just gonna sit there and look pretty.
did we ever find the doorsmith?
Yeah, he's still working on the whole locking the door issue.
I think that I should spend time with Anupam to make sure that he doesn't go and try and figure out what's happening behind the scenes.
Yes, while we do our clandestine cloak and dagger stuff.
I'm not.
You should know that my insight is pretty good. At least as good as it can be.
I'm not interested in the cloak and dagger. I'm interested in doing my duty and getting you to the patrician.
Oh, well, if you put it that way.
Anupam is stubborn. He's going to fight the fight that he wishes to do.
Very well. Shall we go call upon the patrician then?
Is it of a reasonable time of day to do so?
It is a reasonable time. You would, your business would take you to the Great Casbah, which was once known as the King's Casbah, but is it rises above the crowded streets of Old Town, actually, of Medina. And it is, unlike the city itself, it is one of the walled districts of the city. So in time of peril, people, or at least the most powerful people, have a place to go within the walls of the Casbah. There's white sandstone walls, and you get to the gates of the souk through the to the Casbah through the Great Souk. So it's at the very end of the square of the Grand Souk. And who's going exactly?
Myself, and Kebri, and I think Sabine wanted to go as well.
If I believe that the mother of the patrician will be there.
Fun fact, the letter is sealed with a lotus
Is she
flower.
often with him?
Have you been to the Great Casbah?
I met her twice. And the last time we met, she said that she will remember me this time.
I believe when we were being pardoned from
Right, in the
Black Cat
Yes,
spot.
she seemed impressed by me for something.
Was it the evening right about now, wasn't it?
Probably like
no,
2 p.m.
yeah, 2 or
Well,
3.
because here's the thing, we left the thing last session at in the mid-afternoon.
Time is convoluted.
It's up to alright.
yeah, nobody's like quick.
What were you
1 hour
gonna
lunches.
do first, or what were you going to do? Your plan? Because I know that some of you wanted to go to.
I think they're gonna find out.
Well, I know what you guys are doing. You're gonna stay. You're gonna lay low, kind of keep Anupam company.
Yeah.
Set up the wooden dummy, wooden block after it falls down. Okay.
What time did you go to the fight last time when you went? It was later in the day.
No. Well, I mean, it was late afternoon.
Yeah, so let's do this official business now while we can during daylight hours, and then after that we can go to the tents and see what's up.
We can catch him while he takes a meal. Perhaps he will be more pliant.
Perhaps. So we will go to the Great Casbah.
Kepri tucks his close to his heart under his robes.
Is the mother of the patrician often with the patrician, or is it just unofficial occasions?
You have no way of knowing. I mean, it's,
Either way, she's probably there. Like, this is probably where she lives or resides.
There's a chance he may encounter her.
You have more of a chance of encountering her here on a consistent basis than you probably do elsewhere.
No, I'm sure you can find her down in the lab. I'm pretty sure that's exactly where she is.
She hangs out at the fights. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
She's got a weakness for it.
Understood.
Okay.
and you're challenged at the gate. That's what your business is.
I am here on official business of my lord archpriest Harvin of Konox, and I myself am of noble birth, and am requesting audience with the patrician. And I show them the letter, and that it is sealed.
Make a persuasion roll.
Wow, it's a 6.
Modified 6.
He makes a good show of reading it, of not reading it, but looking at the official information, the seal, and looking at each of you, and generally looking down his nose before he eventually opens the gate for you and lets you know.
Thank you.
A warm welcome to be sure.
And I walk with purpose.
You do. And through this very large, clearly utilitarian fortress that was built to keep out whatever was threatening the people who founded the city, you come to a very sumptuously appointed feasting hall / audience chamber, and you don't see the patrician there, but you do see seated on his dais is an older man, looks like he's in his 60s, dressed very well. He's got rings. He's got dark hair, but there's streaks of gray shot through it, and he appears to be functioning as you would know from various official courts. He seems to be the head dick in charge right now.
I did not see our patrician, only a stand-in.
Well, perhaps we should entreat as to where the patrician is. And I will approach and say,
A clerk comes up to and intercepts you and asks you what your business is.
I am here on official business from the archpriest of Baal and the Ziggurat, and the subdeacon and of noble birth. And I request that this letter be delivered unmolested to the patrician himself.
I shall not molest it, but I must read it. O ye of noble birth.
Are you now too having the trouble?
Still skip.
What did you write?
Yes, I shall see that this is taken. I shall see that this finds its way to the vizier. And he takes it, and
What the hell did you write in your little missive?
Merely what it is that you discussed with the...
I'm sorry, he says the chamberlain.
Merely that there is one within the city's walls and within the acquaintances of the archpriest that would seek to arrange for stronger and more positive relations between Vadashar and the lands of Kemet.
There's about a half a dozen functionaries that are seated up there on the dais with this older man, and you see that there's about 20 people before you in line that are being brought up one at a time. And it takes you
I had forgotten how dull these functions are.
As had I.
about 45 minutes later, you find yourself brought up to the front of the line.
Before those 45 minutes happen, is the patrician's mother amongst the people up there?
She is not.
I would like to attempt to slip away while they are waiting online.
Had I known it would take this long, I would have brought my game of Sonat, and we could have a game while we wait. Tell me.
And I a game of backgammon.
I don't believe I've played backgammon.
I don't believe I've ever played
Sonat.
Senet.
Tell me.
So you're gonna slip off and try to.
I am going to wander about and see if I can't happen upon other people.
The Reverend Mother. The Queen
Sounds like
Mother.
a fantastic idea. Just wander about a palace, unknown.
Yeah, what could possibly
If
go
you're a young woman holding plates and dishes, people have a tendency to not look at you.
Tell me.
Make a performance roll.
Tell me, Alexides, what do you think of my
21.
endeavor here?
How much?
21.
Okay. What? All right. Hold that thought. No. You. I told her she's holding that thought. What were you saying?
I was just while we're in line. I was like, "Tell me, Alexides, what do you think of my little endeavor here? Our peoples have been rivals for some time. He did this and that. We have warred occasionally, but nothing too terrible. Surely, what do you feel of it? Surely you wouldn't mind telling your old friend Kepri your true thoughts and feelings on the matter."
I see no reason why improved relations between any countries would be of concern to myself. It's not like Kemet and Badashar have any hope of opposing the Quranian Empire anyways.
I enjoy your confidence.
Wait, what were you asking?
Oh no, I was just trying small talk. Like, what do you, as the literal one of the royal family of the literal rival nation to mine? How do you feel about this fact? I am literally trying to make inroads and using you to make these inroads.
In Vadishar, and I told him I don't have a problem with it. I think that better relations between any two places is generally a good thing, and it's not like them teaming up with Vadishar has any hope of threatening the Quranian Empire anyway. So like, what?
Right.
Why do I care?
I just wish to get your perspective on it.
I take it from the smart and very well starched canonical robes that you are the subdeacon
I am.
to the Lord Archpriest.
I am. And who might I say I have the privilege of addressing?
You might say that I am the great chamberlain of Vadishar, Esau Balmer. And you would be correct if you were to say such a thing.
Esau.
Esau. A-S-A-U.
Okay.
Balmer.
Here we go. Provided the Patricia. The architect of re-establishing much of the city-state structure in the aftermath of the hegemon imperial rule. The head of Asher's civil service and chief diplomat of the city's dealings with neighbors and foreign powers.
I see my
Andy
reputation
has
pursued.
But of course.
And how may I assist you? You are the plenipotentiary from Kemet?
I am. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Ibn al-Capri. As you have no doubt have read from the missive, I have spoken with the Archpriest of all, and the world would benefit from increased relations, and everyone who who I've spoken to seems to think as such. And I wish to get your blessing and approval of the patrician, and no doubt yourself for this.
Well, perhaps I might inquire of he, we, I, the world, as to who you particularly represent, which interests in the southern land of Kemet do you speak for?
Well, I speak ostensibly for my home. My home, what does that mean?
Right. The province that you come from, right? The name of which.
It's on the map that I got, but I can never. It's so
Right.
small that I can never read it.
Okay, so we'll. Apologies, folks. That was a bad step on my part.
Insert name here.
Exactly.
Don't worry, we'll fix it in post.
And so. Exactly.
No, we won't.
No, we won't.
Where are you from? Why?
Why? I am from at the end of River upon us, a land rich and a vital trading point for lands of the south from Zimbala, and also a vital trading point, a choke point through the Quranian Empire. No doubt that such increased relations would be a benefit to everyone involved.
I can see no harm in such an arrangement, all things being considered.
Of course, I thank you. And
there is, of course, the small matter of what goods you will offer for trade and suggest for commercial sale. I correct me if I'm wrong, Lord Hiwi, I, the world. You are here to provide You are here to lead for the actual embassy which is to follow.
I am the vanguard in this little diplomatic effort. I am not necessary. Perhaps I have an important part to play in this little puzzle. But I can assure you that should yourself and the patrician agree to open this little embassy, trade of Chemish silks, ivory from the Black Kingdoms, and other such treasures valued the world over would no doubt flow as freely into Vadishar as the river Apophis flows through my homeland.
Then until such time as the actual embassy arrives with such trade goods and chattels and trade and materials, we shall. I'll put this off for the time being.
Well, I hope you will not put it off for too long.
That depends on the speed of your embassy.
It does it not? Well, I will have to see about being as swift as the wind.
We can hope so.
Oh, our hope. I assure you, your hopes will not be in vain in the slightest.
Thank you for your interest and for bringing this to the attention of the patrician. I shall pass along your tidings to him.
Thank you much, High Chamberlain. Great Chamberlain. I do appreciate you taking your time to hear a humble Kimish out, and I hope this proves to be the most fruitful relationship that Batashar has ever had. We shall see.
Both of us shall.
Kepri gives a wicked smile as he's wont to do. Shall we make our way, Alexius? I believe our business is concluded here for the moment.
We shall.
At the so and meanwhile,
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
you have some you can't go unchallenged in this place by virtue of the fact that it's very well guarded, and there's people, even servants, that are watched closely. But what do you? And you get that sense. I mean, you get the sense that that having been said, you can certainly bluff your way if you want to.
Seems like a place where everybody would know a lot of everybody.
I mean, yeah, you might, but on the other hand,
I would want to go stop off at the kitchens first and get a few items, and make a few things quickly in an attempt to get to see either get into an area somewhere around that in the Dowager Princess or Princess Daphne.
well, I mean, you're. The challenge is that you don't know your way around the place, and so you don't know if she's here or where she would be.
Did we not have Sabine with us at one point?
or Princess Daphne as well, the wife of the patrician.
I care not for the fancies of that woman.
Tell us how you truly feel.
I care not for the fancies of that woman.
Your honesty is refreshing, and your sarcasm is a bitter peel of lemon.
If I'm able to get to the kitchens, it would be the first step.
Step 1, infiltrate kitchen. Step 2, royal assassination. Step 3, question mark. Step 4, profit.
What's step 3?
We're working on that. We're workshopping that. We're workshopping that as hard as we can.
That one's in R&D right now.
We have tried. We are currently on the launching the plague-infested cows over the walls step in the R&D.
The problem is getting them into the catapults.
Yeah. Boy, ain't we supposed to make sure they're dead first? That's what did I tell you about thinking?
That?
What did I tell you about thinking? It's wrong, and I shouldn't do it. Right.
What you're back at these. So what were you doing after you? I mean, you've practiced. You've drank your banana juice. What else?
Onion and banana juice.
I'm sorry.
Get it right, DM.
My verisimilitude is shattered.
That's pretty much it. I mean, somebody was saying that they wanted to keep me company and there you go. Which, by the way, insight checking that shit, by the way.
I'm
the
counter
reason
insight
why.
checking that.
Roll your deception.
That would be deception, man.
Yep.
Make a an insight check. Well, you make a deception check, Scott.
Oh, where am I?
Good luck.
Deception's charisma.
Good luck.
It's a persuasion check, right?
Well, no, it's more like this.
Oh, it's deception.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Same thing. They're both charisma.
23.
23.
A bunch of rules
I rolled a
suspicious,
natural
but-
19
but
plus
we-
4.
Oh,
So 23.
18 plus 5.
okay. So what does that mean?
Roll again.
Roll again.
Alrighty.
As the conversation goes back.
Damn
and
it!
forth.
17.
You rolled a 1? Okay. Listen, you've got good friends.
Looking out for your well-being.
I went from a natural 19 to a natural 1. What
Yeah.
the hell, man?
Your suspicions were broken. You're like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I shouldn't have suspected.
You know, I
your
feel
motives."
living in the city has made me just so untrusting, and I apologize. Yeah,
We might want to have a drink, but not a lot of drinks. Just a drink to enjoy the evening. And I mean, it is the last night before your fight. Isn't that something fighters do?
I have a drink.
Excellent. It'll sit with me while I have one. Not of that though.
Oh.
And we'll go somewhere where we can just chill. And I'll keep them just busy.
Okay.
Chatting about nothing.
And after you left, you were going to go to
Hashtag murder circus.
what's that?
The murder
Murder Circuits, right?
Circuit.
Okay. So Sabine, you kind of.
I initially just want to see if I can get to the kitchens, and if I can get to the pick up a few random trays, see if I can get to the kitchens. If there's resistance even getting to the kitchens, I'm not going to keep pursuing.
Yeah. It's not worth going to. You wouldn't be able to get to the kitchens. It's bottled up. The place is as a castle.
Probably from all the assassination attempts they're used to having and things like that.
I'll just circle back and right around the time he said, "Didn't Sabine come with us?" And I care not for the fancies of that woman. I'm right behind them.
And then she shows up and it's like,
Roll a stealth versus what you call it.
Perception.
Roll that.
Perception.
She's right behind me, isn't she? Yes.
I can't be surprised.
It's not
I'm
about
not trying to surprise
It's
you.
about to see
I'm
if
just
you
walking.
can
No. 20.
stealth. Ooh.
So she snuck up on you.
Just walking behind him. I made no attempt to surprise.
But
I
she didn't
just-
surprise me. She
Not
snuck up
There
right
was
behind us,
no-
and then we're still walking. I'm like, I think she's right behind us now.
She is.
Right after he says that.
Yeah.
As I suspected.
Yes.
No need to worry.
Who's worried? Let us be on our way.
Let's.
I'm feeling, what's the word? Effervescent. Yes. Yes.
I'm feeling underappreciated since I disappeared on your errand.
Well, it was my errand, so,
Not yours.
well, not my errand, but my errand was to get to you.
Yes. And I disappeared on his errand.
Yes, but his errand is my errand by your.
No.
What errand?
Uh,
Oh, never mind.
What we discussed earlier about finding out about
Gradation is sorry.
Bartisan.
Oh, you speak of the cloak and dagger on his behalf, not my behalf.
Indeed, did we have one going on your behalf now?
We did.
Did you talk to the Archpriest about it?
We did.
About
Oh,
Bartisan's
it is
story?
finished now.
Oh.
Very good.
Shall we?
I roll in private when they're not right.
That's good. I was beginning to get
I'm
all
also
of your
gonna ask about
little
what the gift was that you were saying.
secrets.
I don't know if I ever asked.
I was having trouble keeping them all straight. You're such a
Okay.
very untrustworthy bunch.
Oh, well, I'm
Amateurs.
the most trustworthy. I spoken nothing but the truth. A dagger in plain sight is the last to be seen. Anyways, enough talk of daggers. Let us go scope out Anupam's opponent and see if we can put a dagger in him. Or at the very least,
Don't think that I would appreciate
At
that.
the very least, learn what he can do.
learn what he can do.
Oh, trust me, if you value your front teeth, you will not put a dagger in that man before tomorrow.
Hey, it's a dangerous city. Things happen. Can't prove it was us. Literally can't prove it was us.
Can't roll nat ones on all my insight checks, let's just say that.
Fair enough. I don't need a
You
nat
should
one.
not tempt fate.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah. The Norns would prove to you that you can, in fact, roll all ones
That's
on
fair.
every one of your insight.
That's fair.
So,
So we head to the murder circus.
Yes.
This is my first time going there. So,
Oh, I
Mine
will.
as well. It's very exciting to go to the murder service.
Well,
so Capri leads us there.
It's just outside.
the guide guides.
It's not too far from the arena, and it's been set up in a circular formation. There's quite a few wagons, probably about a dozen wagons. There's brightly colored pennons and flags, and the pit, the arena circle, the ring that you see kind of off to the distance, is a temporary structure with wooden pieces that are put together, barricades to keep the crowd on one side and the fighters on the inside. And who's you? You three. You three are there. So make perception rolls.
15.
16.
10.
Okay. As you arrive there, walking your way up the sort of dusty track, you see leaving one of the wagons. Actually, you would recognize the wagon as being where the business manager, I guess, Karpos.
Yes, Anupam did mention a Karpos.
Right, the Andosian. You see, he comes out, and there's another figure that's standing with him, and he kind of looks like Urza, the guard captain.
I don't think he likes any of us very much.
I don't think he likes anyone very much.
Does that include himself? I suppose you would have to be if you are the captain of the guard in Battleship.
Probably why he doesn't like anyone else very much.
Well, shall we steal closer for a closer look?
I don't think that there's any need for
And what were you
subterfuge.
What were you trying to accomplish there?
We wanted to find out a little bit more information about the person that Anupam's going to be fighting.
Maybe poison and or drug him if possible.
I have no intention
If
of doing either
necessary.
of those.
If necessary.
He may fight like
This is
an idiot
between
and just be
them.
strong and big.
They have some thoughts of doing that. I'm just accompanying with no knowledge of that.
Yeah.
That underlying plot that they
Right.
have. I'm here solely for Anupam's sake.
So are we.
I really don't want my golden goose to get cooked. He made me all my money at the fighting pit.
Where do you take him?
Ironically, you make more money than I did in that.
Yeah.
Bet more money, win more money.
I had no money.
Maybe I think I'd take him somewhere that I would be more familiar with, so somewhere near the Great Souk or something.
So like
Like not in the souk, but
still.
near enough that I might be familiar.
Well, maybe you would go to the
Guild.
Gilded Palm, maybe. Where,
Sure.
Okay, so you go there and home of the 100-year-old stew.
Yeah.
And,
Oh my gosh, you have to try this stew. 100-year-old.
100.
The fire has not gone out in 100
It's been
years.
cooking for the stew's been cooking for 100 years.
It is the most delicious thing.
For 100 years.
Probably just keep adding more water when it gets down to
Right.
the
And more food.
Right.
And,
Exactly. It is the most delicious food you'll find in Vanishar.
I am extremely intrigued.
2 bowls, please.
And you recognize the serving girl is the same serving girl that was there before, and she serves you, and
How's your boyfriend? Your acquaintance?
she murmurs something, and she I don't know what you mean. I don't know who you mean. She goes and
You know who I mean.
she walks
I'll
off.
get my own bowl.
Well, I mean, she's already
Oh, sorry, sir.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
there we go. Well, I'm going to try the stew. How is it?
It's really good.
I watch where she goes. I just want to kind of see if she
No, we'll see.
It's been cooking for
She'll come
100
back.
years. What did you expect?
at some point soon.
What soon?
Disappears.
It's pretty mushy.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
The place is pretty busy
It's going to leave me how it entered.
of an early evening.
Kicking
And
and
she's,
screaming.
I mean, you notice that she looks up at you and looks away
Okay.
a couple of times. But
It's good to know she's here. We may need to come back for.
And rip her hair out by the roots. I mean, ask her for information.
Put the leave Sabine from meeting the contact on the corkboard.
Or potentially save that as a trade offer for something I need from Sabine. It sounds like everything has to become a deal here. So.
Oh, by the way, Sabine does owe me the answer to one question. So there you go. I'm going to think about that.
There you go.
make a perception roll, both of you.
Alrighty. 12.
Nine.
Okay.
I didn't even know I had to spend so much time looking. I just
No worries.
saw that number.
The food is really
I didn't
good.
make it.
It's quite good, and you also notice in the working. Well, he doesn't really work, but you notice him there is the owner of the place, Ali Benjara, who and you also notice. I mean, like I said, the place is busy, and he is affecting the same sort of harried. He looks like his world is about to end at any given moment.
Yeah.
So, and he has that look about him. Although the place is busier than it's. As you know, this place was at one time the most popular eatery in Old Town. But the current owner, who is the third generation owner, has done everything he can to squander that.
And it keeps failing. It keeps
Right.
making money.
Well, I mean, it's a popular place, so it makes money in spite of him, but it doesn't really make money.
It stays afloat by virtue of legacy.
Yeah, exactly. So you eat, and at a certain point, you hear some laughter coming over from from the large counter, and you see three. Very regular-looking, lower middle-class working types, laborer types, and they're all laughing and they're having a good time. And you can see that they're drinking quite a bit, which is not unusual for a place like this. But you recognize that they're getting their drinks bought for them, and you see that the person who is sitting with them is Lonan, who is the Fernie's.
The bookie.
He's not the bookie. He's more the recruiter.
Ah, okay.
Business manager was more.
Right.
But you also make another perception roll,
Got it. 17.
and you actually see that person, the bookie, the business manager, Karpos, also seated there. But he's off to a table just to the side of the bar, and he's seated by himself, and he sees you, and you don't get the expression on his face because he covers it up with his he takes a drink. What do you folks do?
I'll give him a nod.
He's the one that you spoke with too.
That's,
Who are you into the fight?
That's the manager, so to speak. He's the one who set it up.
Ah, you, my friend.
Lonan, yeah? Ah, Lonan.
And he comes over. He slaps a couple of the guys. Yes, another drink for them as well. And he goes.
You can have mine.
The group that was sitting at the bar, the laborer types, he had bought some drinks for him. And
You've had the stew, I hope. You've had the stew here, I hope, right?
No, I have not eaten here before.
It's 100-year stew. It's like nothing you've ever eaten.
It really is quite good.
When the girl comes around, let us get more. Actually, I wanted to speak with you because my associate from the Ring and I had a proposition for you. If you have a moment.
Sure.
And he comes over. What are you drinking? I will get you something.
Just water.
I don't.
Nobody drinks water.
Yeah.
Nobody drinks water?
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Because they want to live.
Whatever the...
They wanna-
that's
Like
fair.
it'd be
That's
like an
fair.
ale,
You know what?
yeah.
A
beer.
very weak ale.
Yes.
How about that?
A weak beer. Liquid bread.
I shall get you something that does not dull your fighting skills. How is that, my friend? Yes.
That's, more or less what I go for.
What about you, my friends? Do you want some more? He goes over and so he gets to the bar, and this Carpos fellow nods at you. You're there also as well. What are you up to, Arslan? And you're.
Three of us are at the tent.
Hold the
I
table
am
for a
not
moment.
doing that.
I want to leave the table and leave
They wouldn't
basically
have
an
told you,
opportunity
I'm no
for if
fun.
Carpos wanted to speak to him in private,
Yes.
I'll leave
I'm
him
sure
on
many
empty, but I
times.
want to be within earshot to hear what's said. Maybe I'll go to the bar to get a drink, but I want to keep my
Okay.
ears peeled around our table.
All right, I'm okay with that.
Because who knows what kind of acceptance of deal he may try and do.
And,
Hey, you want to fight a bigger dude?
We can double your money tomorrow!
Wow.
Although
That's
now
what we
he
need to
goes,
avoid.
Come with me, my friend. Come.
Oh, you mean I can fight?
And he
Get even
goes sit at the
stronger
table
faster?
with Carpos, and he sets down this ale or beer.
And I'll make sure that I'm where I can hear.
Make a perception roll.
21.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
This is the fellow I was telling you about, my friend. He is an excellent fighter in the arena, and he has a skill that is reminiscent of our friend, Gwenta.
Hey, wait a second. Ain't that the name of the opponent? We are on the wild goose chase. Honk honk.
And he says, we have a better proposition for you, something that you might find interesting and more challenging, and certainly a better spectacle. It seems that, if I can be frank with you, make a,
Insight.
make an insight.
Did you just get the honk honk?
Ooh.
They're going to change you. You're going to poison the wrong person.
Someone's getting poisoned
He
tonight.
says,
Put a mild poison just to make them like a little weaker than normal.
Yeah.
we want to leave here before
No
winter
one is getting
gets,
poisoned right now.
before the
Right, no
season
one
gets
yet.
farther
You don't
along.
even know. It may not happen.
And our Gomi's
Early in the evening.
unarmed combatant injured himself today. This is who I was going to have. This is who we were going to match you against tomorrow.
He's Gomez. Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It wasn't on the
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But it's a similar whatever.
Yeah.
It's like Arjuna and
Right.
another state of Gandhara.
Right.
How would you be disposed to meeting one-on-one Sarveg, our Borgothian?
Argothian. Which one was that one again?
I'll get our drinks and I'll start heading to the table.
To remind you, that is the giant naked man who
Yes.
crushed someone with.
Oh, him.
The giant naked man who crushed a man in armor with a bear hug.
He was hurt 2 days ago, and so, although
Oh, we're playing.
I just saw him earlier today.
And although his, as you can tell, his recovery is superhuman, we are not interested in hurting anyone that might have the potential to join us on a more permanent basis.
So
That's a good line. That's a really good line.
That is a really good line. So let me see if I get this straight. So you want me to fight the giant, but you're trying to assure me that nothing bad will befall me because you want me to join your show.
And Carpos says, I can assure you that nothing will happen to you.
21 insight. Is he full of shit? 22 insight. I mean, is he
Well-
full of shit.
I don't know about that, but you should roll a d20, you know?
What was that insight check for then? It was a 22.
It's for something else.
Oh,
Yeah, we don't get to stockpile these.
Another 22. There you go.
I can attest he did roll the 18.
I see.
There you go.
Your weak ale is here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, no, somebody else brought you. You have.
oh,
you
you
brought
have
you.
two drinks.
Oh, I got you.
I
Look
don't
at
think we've
that,
met.
Sophie.
How funny.
Oh, this is your friend. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Nah, he doesn't know. I don't know if he knows your friend.
I am his friend.
This is your friend? He says that as a question.
Yes. Oh, this is your friend?
Yeah.
That works.
I see you're getting served by two.
Mm.
Don't drink two of these weak ales or else you might be untouched by tomorrow.
I'm trying to convince your friend here to test his skills against a better, more challenging opponent and give the people of this city a fight that they will not forget for a very long time.
I think they won't forget any of the fights they've seen so far.
So yeah, 22 insight. Is he full of shit?
Well, I mean, no, he wants you to fight. He's very sincere about that part of it. I mean, he
Spin.
Come on.
he is buying you drinks.
Spill it.
Just because he's buying you drinks doesn't mean you have to say yes.
That's fair.
I mean, you get the sense that he's trying to work you very hard to do this. However,
What happened to the man you were going to be fighting? What was his name? He was like you, a monk, correct?
Well, I'm not entirely sure if he was a monk, but evidently he got injured a few days
Well,
ago.
what kind of an injury?
Not really sure. He
well, these men fight all the time, so it is understandable that it is a hardship, as you know. Even unarmed combat is still combat.
So who did you wish him to fight?
We suggested that for a true spectacle, a man of his agility and quickness would come up against Sarvek, our Bargothian, who may or may not be a member of the Son of the
Power
Giant
versus
King.
speed. What an interesting, match.
Precisely. Oh yes.
Wow.
But of course, you may not, with all respect, you may not feel up to the task.
Well, he has, while practicing for the fight, he injured his ankle a little. I'm not sure he would have the speed necessary to take on that one, particularly.
He doesn't think you got the stuff. You don't think you got the stones for it.
By the way, Anupam is not making this face.
Yeah, I get it. None of us are making the faces that we're making.
Otherwise, you'd be able to read him so easily.
Yes. Or
I don't know about you, but
we're all easy to read right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I don't know about you,
Wait,
but Kemper's
didn't he
having a
fight
great
like-
time tonight, even if he ain't here.
Didn't he fight like 5 people at once?
In armor.
No, he fought 2 people once.
Oh, 2. He's the one that crushed the man in his armor.
Right. Yeah, he
That
grappled.
was
He
the
grappled
first
him, and
feat,
then he made him leak out of his armor.
He juiced
Turn
him.
that into soup.
You like the soup? The soup is good. Juice.
So how many more recruits have you found in the last Well, since then.
It is a truism, my friend, that there are many who would test their mettle against those who have proven it in the arena and the ring, but a good fight is hard to come by. But I think that
fight.
You like it to fight?
The fight is good, but yeah.
It's good. Totally not rigged at all.
Oh, man. You don't need to ring it with them.
I don't think you do.
Especially
The
when
little
they're-
voice in the back of your head. Strength.
Especially when they're recruiting the ones they want to go into each fight.
You like it to fight.
You like it to fight?
Cannot be trusted. Sabine's voice.
I'm sure that the odds would be very great, and I cannot speak for Bolsa, the owner, in the same way that my associate Carpos here can, but perhaps some sort of guaranteed purse can be offered you to ensure.
Money.
Such people cannot be trusted.
Money buys you.
Trusted.
Money buys you many goods and services.
Question to you. So, during the matches, how big is the arena?
It's a ring. It's like 30 feet across, 30 feet diameter, 40 feet diameter.
Literally.
Alexides has a note delivered to the Dreamcast.
Damn.
Punch and run.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Oh no, I've run out of running.
I'm sure a lot of people have had that thought.
Yeah.
Strength through adversity.
And nowhere to escape. Can I speak to my friend for a moment alone?
Who's your friend? Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you were asking. Of course, Lonan.
Lonan right now, not Carpos.
Yes, of course. We're all friends here. We're all friends. Rest assured that I want nothing more than to see you gratified and glorified, and of course, richified.
I was checking that statement right there. Look,
Another 22.
Another 22.
Yeah, what can I say?
Sounded sincere to me.
you better have a really good
He is
fucking
sincere.
perception, I swear to God.
He is sincere. If you win this fight, you'll make some money.
A lot of money.
He doesn't need to be deceitful.
He
He's
just
being
also-
super honest.
He just also doesn't expect you to win the fight.
Right. I'm sure many people have gone into that ring thinking,
Yeah, I got
I'm
this.
going to punch and run this man to death.
Surely my quickness will overcome his vast strength and size.
That's how they
And
make
the
all
other
their
question
money.
is how do you know he's not fast also? We only saw men run up to him.
There you go. Just rope a dope. Rope a dope. You dope?
He ropes.
You did, you pulled him aside when you saying.
Okay.
I said it really fun.
Oh,
I'm thinking of saying yes.
You're what?
I think
Wait,
it's-
you were at the fights with us.
Yes.
You saw what happened.
Yes, I did. I'm thinking of saying yes.
And I pull him aside. I pull him out of the seat.
Well, no, we were already out of the seat. I'm not saying that in
Okay.
front of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You saw what he did.
I did.
How many people do you think have walked out of a fight with that man? In a ring combat like that? How many have won?
Probably not many.
Probably none. Do you think you're at that level now? You're ready to take that on, to take on that risk?
Oh no. Honestly, do not know. It's a gamble.
Fear keeps people alive too, not only bravery.
my face is starting to hurt.
Sometimes you need to reconsider the tactic. The tactic here, there's only two tactics. Enter and very likely die, or don't enter the ring. They'll find another sucker for that. You know he's playing you, right?
I do know that actually.
Make an insight roll.
At least I heavily
21.
suspected.
So you get the sense that Anupam is not doing this for ego. You know, that it's not, that it's much more about some sort of a personal test than ego.
Everybody has that for me. I
It's a
start
deeper
writing
thing.
down.
That it's much deeper than just that he's actually that this for some reason this is whatever this is about. It's about a motif that is deeper than
Okay,
He's
imagine
going
you
Goku.
go into this fight, and I'm sure in you're sleeping while sitting up. You can you imagine things clearly.
More or less.
Imagine how you would defeat him. How could you defeat him? Going in with no weapons, or maybe your staff, if they allow that. I don't even know.
I mean, they allowed all those men to wear suits of armor.
Right, but you're talking about a different fight. You're trying to say unarmed.
I don't need to go unarmed, but
Right, but that means he goes in armed too.
okay. All right. Let's say that's a question we should ask before I say yes.
Quit going into this so optimistically from your beginning position. Your beginning position should be at best neutral. Not thinking yes. You should be instead just thinking. Or leaning to survival. So how would you defeat him? He's definitely stronger than you.
I also have ways of attacking from a distance.
What? Unarmed.
Pull out darts.
You can't pull a weapon if you're in an unarmed combat.
If it's
You'll
unarmed,
forfeit.
yes. But if you're asking me how could I defeat him, if it's completely unarmed, then I most likely will not win this fight.
Okay, let's say it's armed and you go in with your darts. And he goes in with, let's say, a battering ram. That he wields like a club.
He would have to catch me.
You're in a space the size of
Here I thought you were plotting against me.
what we're standing in and 10 feet around.
Lozenges.
Could you do it?
Quite literally.
If you think you can do it, if you believe 100% that you can do it, I still think you should consider not doing it. Because this man is not a man, he's a beast.
Singing from Giant Games.
He has 3 or 4 feet on you. Maybe if we got him totally drunk, although I wouldn't bet on that because a man like that,
It's not enough.
he may not even be
I
able to
don't-
get drunk.
I don't know if Sabine, any poison Sabine's packing is really going to do the trick at this point.
I say nothing to Arslan. I turn back around and I sit down. So I have a question or two. Would I be allowing these weapons against him?
what sort of weapons?
Bow staff and maybe some ranged weapons like my darts.
As long as there is no poison.
Oh no.
Oh no, he actually has to fight fair.
There is no objection then.
They're gonna be so mad at me.
From across the room, I can already tell what's about to happen.
You hear Alexides' voice in your head. Do whatever you want. It's none of our business.
Capri's voice in your head. Remember, licking doorknobs on other planets is illegal.
And Sabine's voice saying, "This is all very stupid."
Fight to the death or just to be knockout?
Just the pain.
Fight until surrender.
Macho madness is coming at you.
I surrender.
Oops. I guess,
Cream is gonna rise to the top.
well, I guess that means he technically
Excellent.
wins.
Okay, that's good.
I accept.
I walk out. I leave. Wow.
We at this point can't find our guy.
I go
So
looking for
I think we're gonna leave.
Yep. We return to the ziggurat.
I go looking for them. Probably at the circus. Wow.
I'm going back to the ziggurat and going up to my room to meditate for the rest of the night. And then continue
I rolled a 20 to spot ours. I was rolling to see if I could find him before we miss just to see him.
Yep.
Oh, excellent. We couldn't find him. Couldn't find his
It wouldn't
opponent.
matter. He's fighting the giant.
Oh. Yes. I see then.
I take it that this is not a good thing.
This is perhaps the worst outcome, barring maybe the hyena man.
The hyena man would have been better, I think. At least
Probably.
No, they're both equally horrible.
They are very bad.
Well, I hope his skills are up to task tomorrow.
I believe Sabine Zaddy's plan to inebriate and or intoxicate the man is no longer a viable plan at all.
Apparently he was injured, although I think it was a ruse to trick him into this combat.
And he fell
And it
for it.
worked. And
Oh
it
yes.
worked.
Oh, of course. No. Well,
That assumes he's, foolish and gullible.
Does he have next of kin that we should know about?
I don't believe he has revealed any to me. I believe we are technically the next of kin in the event.
Too bad he doesn't have anything to inherit.
Wow.
He
Oh,
has a
look.
staff and apparently some darts, which he is going to be allowed to use in the combat.
Oh, that is good. How big is the ring again?
About 30 feet.
Oh, that is bad. How big is that man again?
More than 8 feet tall.
That is bad. Well, I take it we all have figured out where our bets are being placed.
I won't bet on the death of our friend.
So we should at least show up and provide moral support.
We will.
I suppose we will. I am going to hedge my bets though. One must be proactive.
I understand.
After all.
You're a lucky gambler.
I gamble? I always bet on a sure thing.
I would have to agree with our friend Capri in this circumstance.
Well,
It seems to me that this is less of a gamble and more of a...
Well, let us see. You know what? I will have faith in Brother Omnipot. Surely he will come out this...
And you'll bet both sides.
Oh, no doubt. What do you take me for? You take me for some wet behind the ears sop? Of course I'm going to bet both sides. It's just a question of which I bet on harder.
Are we able to, in any way, find out what the odds are for this fight? I guess we will when we go.
Well, I don't believe there's anything we can do to help Brother Anupam at the moment, short of us trying to rush the giant man, which I have less than zero intentions of doing.
What if we could get the circus run out of the city?
I
hadn't thought about that until now.
That's an interesting thought.
It is.
Though they've openly murdered people in their arena, so I'm not
It's
sure.
not murder if you go unwillingly to a fight.
Yeah,
Or else every ring would be shut down.
It is true. It is at least, if not sanctioned, then at least tolerated.
Unless they were children or something.
But from what you've told me,
That'd be a great business opportunity.
by no means have these deaths been accidental.
Oh no, they are very much intentional. Though, oh well.
And as you ponder Kepri's fate,
Anupam's fate. Anupam's fate. I'm not
sorry.
fighting. I'm not
Anupam's
fighting.
fate,
I'm
that's right.
smart.
Yeah, Kepri's fate is assured, at least for the night. So we'll stop for the evening. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next week.